Chapter 791. A moment later, Lin Yan's expression changed. The Chinese country? After leaving the country, Lin Yan had assumed that she would never race again. Hence, she hadn't paid much attention to the racing industry. She had lost interest in the location of the international competition in the future. However, Lin Yan hadn't expected that the international competition would be held in the Chinese country this year. Lin Yan had assumed that she wouldn't have any contact with the racing industry after leaving the racing industry. That was one of the reasons she had hidden her identity. However, looking at it now, she realized that she had been too naive back then. Ever since she had started racing, racing had been a part of her life. Even though she had been banned from competing overseas and wanted to quit the industry completely, it had been a simple task. Lin Yan had assumed that the competition would be held in Europe or Australia. She hadn't expected that the international competition would be held in the Chinese country. If it had been held in the Chinese country, she might not have been able to keep her identity. If her identity was exposed and the whole world knew who she was, it wouldn't be easy for her to continue living a leisurely life as an actress in the Chinese country. Lin Yan couldn't help but sigh. It seemed like her leisurely days wouldn't last much longer. This year, China had become the host of the international competition. In terms of the level of the Chinese racing circle, it had nothing to do with being at the top. Although it was not at the bottom, it was still held in its own territory. As the host, if they were to lose too badly, at the same time, at the headquarters of the Chinese Racing Federation, the international competition was about to begin, so there was an emergency meeting at the headquarters. A group of senior executives was enraged. A white-haired old man in a suit bellowed, "This is too much. Do they really think that we don't have any experts in the Chinese country?" A middle-aged man had a cold glint in his eyes as he said in a deep voice, "I just confirmed some details of the international competition with the other participating countries." Their words were full of provocation, belittling our Hua Nation team to the point that we're worthless. Call those antique teams out. This time, no matter what, they have to compete. We can't let those foreign teams be so arrogant this time, because the International League is being held in our territory. We contacted those antique teams before, but they didn't care at all. In the past few years, those teams are no longer under our jurisdiction, and we can't mobilize them, the old man in the suit said helplessly. This is outrageous. Are we just going to let them provoke us like this? What do they think the Chinese racing industry is? What's more, we're the host this time. If we lose too badly, how are we going to explain to the fans in China? Old Li, why don't you make some arrangements to send the best teams with the most potential over here? Pick out the best racers from each team and form a new team. Sai, that's the only way. There's a racer with the surname Lin in this year's ranking competition. I heard that he's pretty good at racing. His performance last time was outstanding, and he attracted the attention of many teams. Although he can't be compared to those foreign racers, we can find more young racers with potential like him as substitutes. Chapter 792. The Racing Association was the governing body of the country's racing industry. It was also the only official organization of the country's racing industry. Every country had an official organization similar to the Racing Association in the country. Lin Yan had been banned by a foreign racing association in the past. All the racing associations in the world had close ties, and the international competition was organized by these official associations. The racing industry in the country had always been mediocre. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't at the bottom either. This time, as the host of the international competition, the Racing Association in the country had placed great importance on it. They had been busy preparing for it and had been in close contact with several foreign racing associations that had participated in the international competition. However, some foreign racing associations didn't think much of the racing industry in the country. Their words had inadvertently revealed their disdain, which had infuriated the Racing Association in the country. It would have been fine if this had happened under normal circumstances, but the Racing Association in the country was being looked down upon in its own territory. How could they tolerate this? I've heard that some foreign teams have arrived in China ahead of time. These teams have been restless ever since they arrived. They've been looking for trouble with the first-tier teams. They've already challenged a few first-tier teams. They're simply looking down on us. Heh. Guess what the guild in the foreign region that I contacted earlier said? Fortunately, the international competition is being held in China this time. The Chinese teams are basking in the limelight. Otherwise, None of the teams in China would have been able to enter the international competition. Many of the higher-ups slammed their hands on the table. In the past few years, the quality of the teams in the country had been average. It wouldn't have been a problem for them to enter the third level of the international competition. However, it would have been difficult for them to advance further. In the past few years, the major teams in the country had been developing well, and many excellent racers had appeared. It wouldn't have been a problem for them to enter the second level of the international competition. They might even be able to enter the first level of the international competition. They were aware of their own standards. All they wanted was for the teams in the country to break through the bottleneck and qualify for the first level of the international competition. However, they had said that if the international competition hadn't been held in the country, the teams in the country wouldn't have been able to enter the international competition. This was utter nonsense. No matter what, we have to enter the first level of the international competition in our own territory this year. The old man in the suit shouted coldly. It's hard to say at the moment. A middle-aged man replied solemnly, based on the standards of the country, it won't be a problem for us to achieve good results in the second level of the international competition. However, I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to compete in the first level of the international competition. The main problem is that the old teams are no longer under our jurisdiction. I have no idea what they are thinking. That's why I'm saying that we should call all the strongest teams in China over, and have each team select one of their best racers to form a brand new team. That way we still have a chance. I have some recollection of the racer with the surname Lin. I think she's an actress, but she doesn't seem to have a good reputation. Oh right, she's just a member of a high-level team. She's not even qualified to be a substitute. Her strength is not bad. Substitutes aren't official members, so the more the better. Find out which team that contestant with the surname Lin is from and invite them over. Let the people below make the arrangements. Chapter 793. At the filming location, Wei Shufeng's car sped towards the finish line. After some time, the car door swung open and Wei Shufeng, who was fully geared up, stepped out. Soon, more than 10 professional racers from various countries stepped forward, each of them wearing an indescribable look of joy on their faces. In a few seconds, Wei Shufeng was surrounded by the crowd and cheering. Wei Shufeng's lips curled into an obvious smile. Hold on. The director interrupted Wei Shufeng's performance. Director, is there a problem? Wei Shufeng glanced at the director, looking slightly puzzled. Wei Shufeng had thought that he had given his all to portray Lang Mang. He had been confident that he would be able to pass the scene in one take, but the director had interrupted him. Wei Shufeng, of course there's a problem. The director waved his hand and called out to Lin Yan, who was sitting in the car. Lin Yan, who had seen Wei Shufeng's performance, had noticed the problem even before the director had shouted for him to stop. Wei Shufeng's character, Lang Mang, was too normal. Although this was how he should be, it was contrary to the main plot of the movie. The main problem was that there was a huge problem with Wei Shufeng's expression. Wei Shufeng, look at her. Look at her. The director pointed at Lin Yan. Look at Lin Yan? Lang Mang looked puzzled, as he didn't understand the director's words. Why would he want to look at Lin Yan? No. The director shook his head frantically. You're wrong. You've made a huge mistake. Who are you? Me. Wei Shufeng frowned. I am Lang Mang. Wei Shufeng snapped back to his senses. The director pressed on. So who is she? She is your coach, Yeva. Why did you defeat such a strong opponent? Or rather, why did you defeat such a strong opponent? Was it because you wanted to win the competition? I don't think that's the case. Lin Yan shot a glance at the director. Although the director had made sense, it had been too brief. He hadn't conveyed the core idea to Wei Shufeng, so it was no wonder that Wei Shufeng was puzzled. Director, it's easy to understand. Lin Yan removed her helmet when she noticed that Wei Shufeng was still puzzled. Director, can I explain to Wei Shufeng? Lin Yan's eyes trailed to the director. The director glanced at Lin Yan suspiciously. Even Wei Shufeng, who was acting, didn't understand. He couldn't act the way he wanted, so how could Lin Yan? Wei Shufeng's acting skills and ability to understand the situation had to be the best. Right now, the director's greatest wish was for Lin Yan to act as Yeva well. He didn't expect her to feel the way he wanted her to, but she had to at least look the part. Lin Yan speak. I do have some doubts, Wei Shufeng interjected before the director could speak. Lin Yan nodded and explained, actually, in this scene, Lang Mang met his nemesis. This nemesis had existed before his master, Yeva, left. Even after Yeva's guidance, Lang Mang still couldn't defeat his nemesis. Lang Mang had challenged Yeva to a duel, but Yeva had rejected him. She hadn't shown him any mercy. After Yeva had rejected him, Lang Mang had asked her when he would be qualified to challenge her. Chapter 794. Yeva's answer to that question was to wait until he defeated his opponent. The conversation between Lang Mang and Yeva is the main plot of the movie. Lang Mang defeating his opponent is the main plot. After that, Yeva will appear and compete with Lang Mang. This is the core plot. Wei Shufeng fell into deep thought after Lin Yan finished speaking. What happened after that? Lin Yan added, defeating his opponent and conquering the track wasn't Lang Mang's original intention. He didn't compete to win. He competed to fulfill his dream. His ultimate goal is for Yeva to keep her promise and compete with him on the track. You shouldn't be happy or excited after you win. Instead, Wei Shufeng glanced at Lin Yan. Lin Yan was expressionless. I came, I saw, and I conquered. Where are you? Wei Shufeng was taken aback by Lin Yan's words. Wei Shufeng wasn't the only one who was shocked. Even the director was shocked. The script he had given him hadn't been that detailed. The ending had been rather vague as well. It depended on the actors themselves. Hence, Wei Shufeng hadn't been able to portray the feeling that he wanted. In fact, even the director himself didn't know what he was looking for. However, what Lin Yan had said earlier, especially the last part, I came, I saw, and I conquered. Where are you? Yes, there was no mistake. That was the feeling that he wanted. This way, the plot and the performance would be able to achieve the desired effect. Yeva, as the core of the movie, would be even more convincing. The sudden surprise made the director forget to ask Lin Yan how she had known about Lang Mang and Yeva's past. Hold on, Lin Yan. How did you know about Boss and Lang Mang's relationship? The director didn't include such details in the script and analysis. Did you just imagine it? Wei Shufeng glanced at Lin Yan. No. I don't care how she did it. This is the feeling that I want. Wei Shufeng, follow this feeling and act according to Lin Yan's theme. I want this. The director said hastily. Wei Shufeng frowned as he studied Lin Yan in confusion. Lin Yan chuckled softly. Yeva told me herself. Have you forgotten that Yeva arranged for me to play this role? You have Boss's contact number. Wei Shufeng suddenly got excited. Lin Yan replied, of course. Didn't I tell you that Yeva told me herself? Lin Yan, can you give me Boss's contact number? Wei Shufeng asked anxiously. I can't. Lin Yan shook her head. That's Yeva's private number. Without her permission, how could I tell anyone else? Lin Yan, do me a favor. If you tell me your contact number, I will give you this amount. Wei Shufeng blurted out hurriedly. Lin Yan replied solemnly, leave it to me. Director. Wei Shufeng was speechless. The staff. No. Wei Shufeng shook his head. Lin Yan was dumbfounded. Was he going to go back on his word? He had promised to pay a huge sum of money for Yeva's contact information. Why couldn't he do it now? He wasn't a loyal fan. End of the chapter. Chapter 795. If I add Boss, I don't think she will accept me. Wei Shufeng frowned. Lin Yan shrugged. Then there's nothing I can do. Lin Yan, tell Boss to add me. As long as she does, I can double the amount. No, I can triple it. Wei Shufeng replied. Lin Yan glanced at Wei Shufeng. Don't worry, no problem. Leave it to me. If Yeva doesn't add you, I will refund you double the amount. Lin Yan was so excited that her hands were trembling. Did money just fall from the sky? All she had to do was log into her account and add Wei Shufeng's name. Wouldn't that be a piece of cake? If Wei Shufeng continued to offer her more money, she could even chat with him all night. She could even make him a king. Lin Yan, you said it, Wei Shufeng replied. I said it. If Yeva doesn't add you, I will refund you double the amount. No, I will refund you 10 times the amount. Lin Yan looked determined. Wei Shufeng, are you guys done? The director glanced at Wei Shufeng. Wei Shufeng looked apologetic as he replied, Sorry, I'm ready. We can start now. Hold on. The director shook his head. Actually, I have Yeva's contact number. Lin Yan glared fiercely at the director. How could an international director compete with her? Lin Yan hurriedly said, Director, acting is the most important thing. Wei Shufeng has finally gotten into character. Hurry up and start. The director nodded. Yeah, let's get to work first. Wei Shufeng steadied his emotions for a moment before he started. Wei Shufeng stepped out of his car. A dozen professional racers from various countries surrounded him excitedly and cheered him on. Wei Shufeng was surrounded by the crowd. He had a faint smile on his face, but there was an indescribable, complicated look in his eyes. Just as everyone was cheering, Wei Shufeng gazed into the distance. Do I have the qualifications now? The director was taken aback by Wei Shufeng's words. There wasn't such a line. The director wanted to interrupt him, but for some reason, he felt that there was nothing wrong with Wei Shufeng's performance. Hence, he didn't say anything. Wei Shufeng gazed at the horizon. I've come. I've seen, I've conquered. Where have you been since then? Wei Shufeng murmured. Not bad. The director nodded discreetly. Although Wei Shufeng had copied Lin Yan's words, it felt good. He didn't seem pretentious at all. Instead, he seemed to be speaking from his heart. After some time, the sky gradually darkened. Wei Shufeng was the only one left on the track. After some time, Wei Shufeng leaned against his car, as though he was talking to it. I'm still waiting. What am I waiting for? Who knows? I'm also waiting for a promise, perhaps. Suddenly, the roar of a racing car came from the hillside in the distance. Suddenly, Wei Shufeng's eyes lit up. He couldn't help but glance at the hill. Swoosh! A silver racing car, like a flying bird, leaped off the hill in an instant, drawing a mesmerizing arc in the air. The director was taken aback by this scene. This wasn't how the script was supposed to be. This was too fake. Chapter 796. Hadn't they agreed to let a professional racer complete this dangerous maneuver? Lin Yan was way too fierce. How could she be so good at racing? The silver car stopped and Yeva stepped out of the car. She crossed her arms and glanced at Wei Shufeng casually. Wei Shufeng's eyes gleamed with indescribable excitement. However, he quickly composed himself. You're here. I knew you would come. You and your teammate are not bad. Lin Yan's eyes swept across Wei Shufeng and the car behind him. Wei Shufeng was about to say something when Lin Yan removed her helmet. Wei Shufeng was startled. According to the script, Yeva shouldn't have removed her helmet. However, the director remained silent. As a professional actor, he had to continue acting. The director was dumbfounded. What was wrong with Lin Yan and Wei Shufeng? Why hadn't they followed the script? Was this what an actor should do? But it did feel pretty good. Ma! After Yeva removed her helmet, Wei Shufeng was about to finish his sentence when Yeva gestured for him to keep quiet. Wei Shufeng was about to blurt out his lines when Lin Yan gestured for him to keep quiet. He had no choice but to shut his mouth. Congratulations. Lin Yan grinned at Wei Shufeng. Wei Shufeng felt conflicted. Lin Yan's words hadn't been in the script. She had completely messed up the conversation. Although Wei Shufeng wanted to stop, the director didn't stop him. Hence, he had no choice but to continue. However, Wei Shufeng didn't know how to respond to Lin Yan. Have you finished your apprenticeship? Wei Shufeng had no choice but to reply. Lin Yan grinned. You've matured. I fulfilled my promise. Lin Yan put on her helmet and turned around to get into her silver car. Wei Shufeng got in the car as well. Lin Yan rolled down the window. Are you ready? Wei Shufeng remained silent as he gave her a thumbs up. Whoosh! Almost in an instant, the two cars charged forward at the same time. It had to be said that Wei Shufeng's racing skills were excellent. Although he couldn't be compared to a professional racer, he was more than capable under such circumstances. As the two cars sprinted towards the finish line, the director stood up excitedly and announced the perfect end of the scene. The ending of Legend would be the showdown between Yeva and Lang Mang. No one knew who would emerge victorious, and the audience would be left to wonder. It was an open ending. Although Lang Mang was the main character of this movie, everyone knew that Lang Mang's chances of winning against Yeva were slim. If Lang Mang won, there would be a lot of criticism. If Lang Mang lost, it wouldn't look good either. Hence, this ending was the best and most suitable scene to be used as the ending. Lin Yan, be careful. That's my car. After that, Wei Shufeng got out of the car hurriedly and went forward to check on her. Lin Yan was speechless. Great. Your performance was amazing. You exceeded my expectations. The director walked over to Lin Yan and Lang Mang with a smile. Lin Yan, in particular, had given him a pleasant surprise. Although Lin Yan hadn't followed the script and her lines had been shorter, it still felt good. Her portrayal was more realistic, especially when she removed her helmet. It was as though she was announcing the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. End of this chapter. Chapter 797. Yeva didn't have many scenes in the movie. She only had a few minutes at the end, but the essence and selling point of the movie was in these few minutes. The director didn't need many lines. What he wanted was an indescribable mood. Lin Yan had indeed made him feel that way in the last few minutes. This was exactly what he needed. After her scenes were over, Lin Yan left with Zhao Hongling and Duo. Today's filming had gone smoothly, especially for Lin Yan. It had been a piece of cake. Lin Yan knew what the director wanted her to feel. It was just a feeling, and she was acting herself. Hence, it wasn't difficult at all. Sister Yan, your acting was amazing. Duo exclaimed as she watched Lin Yan drive. It's really not bad, Zhao Hongling echoed from the second seat. Zhao Hongling had been a little taken aback when Lin Yan and Wei Shufeng had acted together. She had read the script carefully, so she knew every line that Lang Mang and Yeva had said. However, Lin Yan didn't follow the script at all. Instead, she chose to act on her own. However, the outcome was beyond Zhao Hongling's expectations. Lin Yan's mannerisms made her feel natural and comfortable. Zhao Hongling even got goosebumps at some point in time. Sister Yan, your acting was amazing. You must have put in a lot of effort. Duo exclaimed excitedly. I almost forgot that you were acting when you were acting with Wei Shufeng. I thought that you were Yeva. Lin Yan stopped the car at a red light and turned to Zhao Hongling and Duo. What were you talking about? Duo was speechless. Zhao Hongling was speechless. Focus on driving. I don't have a driver's license for you to revoke. Zhao Hongling chuckled softly. Lin Yan smiled awkwardly when she heard Zhao Hongling. Zhao Hongling's driver's license seemed to have become an obsession. Every time she saw Zhao Hongling, she had to mention it. After sending Zhao Hongling and Duo home, Lin Yan returned to Cloud Manor. The ragdoll and orange kitten were eating in the cage. When Lin Yan entered the room, both kittens meowed at the same time. Lin Yan walked to the cage and opened it. The ragdoll and orange kitten got out of the cage and rubbed their heads against Lin Yan's pants. While he was stroking the cat, his phone rang. Hey, sister. He Lufeng's voice came through the phone. What happened? Lin Yan frowned when she heard the anxiety in He Lufeng's voice. Could it be that something had happened to the team again? Logically speaking, it shouldn't have happened. Sister, something has happened. Something big has happened. He Lufeng said hurriedly. Calm down. What happened? Tell me slowly, Lin Yan replied softly. Before He Lufeng could reply, Shuyan replied. It's fine. Goddess, don't worry. It's nothing serious. Captain, my sister has to know. He Lufeng said anxiously. Shuyan quipped. Why are you so naughty? You're so immature. You're making your sister worried. You have to tell me even if you're worried. How long can you hide this? My sister is the backbone of the team. He Lufeng quipped. Lin Yan frowned. Xiaofeng, what happened? Chapter 798. Sister, something serious has happened. He Lufeng quipped. What happened? Tell me. Lin Yan was impatient, so she wanted to slap He Lufeng to death. He kept saying that something serious had happened, but he couldn't get to the point. Grandfather is in the hospital. He Lufeng replied. Lin Yan was startled by He Lufeng's words. Grandfather was in the hospital? Which hospital? I'll head over right away, replied Lin Yan. When Lin Yan arrived at the hospital, He Lufeng and Mo Shuyun were already waiting for her. He Lufeng scurried over when he saw Lin Yan. Sister, grandfather is in the hospital. Lin Yan glanced at He Lufeng. Was he a repeater? Goddess, don't be anxious, Mo Shuyun said. Lin Yan didn't say anything else as she followed the two of them to the operating room. Lin Yan hadn't expected that things would be so serious. Her grandfather was in the operating room. The lights in the operating room were on, but the old master was still in surgery. Lin Yan and the others could only wait outside. What happened? Why did something happen to grandfather? Lin Yan glanced at He Lufeng and Mo Shuyun. Her grandfather had been full of energy and vigor not too long ago. How could he be in the operating room? Sister, who would have thought that this would be a long story? He Lufeng sighed heavily. Make it short, replied Lin Yan. Cut the crap. Mo Shuyun glanced at He Lufeng. You can't even speak properly. The old master fainted because he was angry. Yes. Captain, you're right. Grandfather fainted because he was so angry, quipped He Lufeng. He fainted because he was angry? Lin Yan looked even more puzzled after hearing He Lufeng's words. Now that the team was on the right track, how could he be so angry that he had to be hospitalized? Who angered him? Lin Yan stared at He Lufeng. Did you infuriate grandfather and send him to the hospital? Me. He Lufeng, who was startled, stared at Lin Yan in disbelief. Sister, are you kidding me? How could it be me? Am I that unfilial? I wouldn't dare disobey grandfather's orders. I wouldn't dare to beat a dog if grandfather asked me to. How could it be me? Goddess, I can testify for He Lufeng. It really wasn't him. He's probably the one who sent himself to the hospital. Mo Shuyun sighed heavily. It's uncle and He Mingkai's fault. He Lufeng explained hurriedly. Is it them? Lin Yan fell into deep thought. After such a long time, he had almost forgotten about this pair of father and son. Why? Asked Lin Yan. Not sure. He Lufeng shook his head. Grandfather, uncle, and He Mingkai were in the house. I was in the living room when I heard grandfather arguing. He seemed to be talking about shares. Then, grandfather kicked uncle and He Mingkai out of the house. I had just closed the door when grandfather passed out. Lin Yan's eyes gleamed coldly. He Xiong and He Mingkai are really despicable. How could they infuriate the old master so badly? They are despicable. Mo Shuyun chimed in. Lin Yan had no idea why the old master had been so angry or what He Mingkai and He Xiong had said. She wasn't interested in finding out either. The most important thing now was to check on the old master's health. However, everything could only be known after the surgery was completed. Should we inform Auntie? Asked He Lufeng. Lin Yan pondered for a moment before shaking her head. Not yet. Let's wait and see. If her mother knew that her grandfather had been hospitalized, she would probably go after He Mingkai and He Xiong. Chapter 799. Although He Muyun was usually soft and easy to talk to, she wouldn't give up easily when something had to do with her grandfather. Lin Yan didn't want her mother to get angry, nor did she want her mother to worry. Hence, she decided to wait and see. After waiting for about 2 hours, the lights in the operating theater were still on, and the surgery was still going on. This made Lin Yan and He Lufeng even more worried. The longer the surgery was, the greater the risk. Why isn't the surgery over yet? Did something happen to grandfather? He Lufeng looked anxious. Mo Shuyun glanced at He Lufeng. You're such a filial child. Before He Lufeng could respond, Lin Yan interjected, Shut your mouth. He Lufeng was speechless. He really didn't mean that. Who would have thought that He Mingkai would be that kind of person? Before he left, he called grandfather an old fool. When grandfather is fine, I will kill him. He Lufeng gritted his teeth. Forget it. Mo Shuyun shook his head. Forget it. How can you just let it go? He Lufeng hissed coldly. What I mean is, you should go back and kill him. Forget it, with your small physique. I think He Mingkai will only take 3 punches at most. After 3 punches, you might have to enter the operating theater, Mo Shuyun said. Before He Luffing could respond, the lights outside the operating room went off. Not long after, the door of the operating theater opened, and several doctors walked out of the operating theater. Who is He Dingkuan's family member? The middle-aged doctor asked. I'm He Dingkuan's granddaughter. Lin Yan stood up immediately. I'm his grandson. He Luffing blurted out anxiously. The doctor eyed He Luffing strangely before he turned to Lin Yan. Follow me. The doctor led Lin Yan and the others to his department. The doctor glanced at Lin Yan and said, I didn't expect Miss Lin Yan's grandfather to be in the emergency room. Miss Lin Yan, I'm your fan. Hello, thank you for your love and support. Doctor, how is my grandfather? Lin Yan couldn't care less about her fans. Miss Lin Yan, your grandfather suffered a cerebral hemorrhage because he was too emotional. The doctor fell silent for a moment before he answered. Cerebral hemorrhage? Is it serious? He Luffing hurriedly asked the doctor. Cerebral vascular rupture. Do you think it's serious? The doctor frowned. Doctor, ignore him. His brain development has been delayed since he was young. How is my grandfather now? Was the surgery successful? Asked Lin Yan. The doctor nodded and replied, Miss Lin Yan, the surgery was considered a success. However, we still need to observe the patient for some time. He is still unconscious, so we will see when he wakes up. Then, is my grandfather in danger? Lin Yan pressed on. He was sent here in time, and the surgery was quite successful. My life shouldn't be in danger for the time being. Let's observe him first and wait for the patient to wake up, the doctor explained. Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard the doctor. The surgery was relatively successful, and there was no danger to his life. This was already a blessing in disguise. Doctor, when will my grandfather wake up? He Luffing asked the doctor. I'm not sure yet. It depends on the situation. No one can guarantee anything, the doctor said. Ah, isn't my grandfather in a vegetative state? What if he never wakes up? He Luffing was stunned. Can you shut your foul mouth? Mo Shuyun glared at He Luffing. Chapter 800. He Luffing realized that he had said too much, especially when Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun were glaring at him. He finally shut his mouth. Although he didn't know why, He Luffing felt that if he continued, he might end up staying in the same ward as his grandfather. Of course, he didn't want to be hospitalized. Doctor, sorry to trouble you. I hope that you can take care of my grandfather, Lin Yan told the middle-aged doctor. The middle-aged doctor nodded and replied, Miss Lin Yan, don't worry. This is our duty. Besides, his condition isn't that bad. If things go well, the old master will wake up in a few days and recuperate for a while. Then he will be fine. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Luffing, who had already shut his mouth, blurted out, What if things go badly? The middle-aged doctor's eyes trailed to He Luffing. The corners of his mouth twitched as though he wanted to say something. However, he didn't say anything in the end. If things go badly, you will stay in the same ward as your grandfather. That way you can take care of him. Are you satisfied? Lin Yan glanced at He Luffing. He Luffing shuddered when he saw Lin Yan's unfriendly gaze. Yes, I am. Doctor, can we go and see the old master now? Asked Mo Shuyun. Not yet. You can go and settle the paperwork first. I will call you when the time comes, replied the middle-aged doctor. Thank you. Lin Yan nodded and led He Luffing and Mo Shuyun away to settle the paperwork. Goddess, I have something to tell you. Outside the hospital, Mo Shuyun glanced at Lin Yan and said, I just received a text message. He Xiong and his son, He Ming Kai, are holding a celebration party to celebrate our promotion. Lin Yan glanced at the text on Mo Shuyun's phone. Lin Yan sneered coldly. This father and son are really interesting. They made grandfather so angry. Not only did they not come to the hospital, but they are also holding a celebration party. I have a feeling that something is amiss. Mo Shuyun pondered for a moment before he replied. He Luffing said that the old master was sent to the hospital because of the stock issue. Now, the father and son are holding a celebration party. Don't you think it's strange? Yes, it's because of the shares. I heard it clearly. It seems like eldest uncle sold his shares at a high price. He Luffing replied. Let's not talk about that for now. They didn't invite you to the celebration tonight. Mo Shuyun glanced at Lin Yan. In the past, even if He Xiong and He Mingkai had invited her, she wouldn't have agreed. However, things were different now. The Aurora motorcade team had nothing to do with He Xiong and his son. Why would they hold a celebration banquet? Even if they did, it would be handled by someone else or she would organize it herself. Not to mention, this pair of father and son made the old man so angry that he was sent to the hospital and almost lost his life, but they were still holding a celebration party with great fanfare. I'll go. Lin Yan glanced at Mo Shuyun. It's fine if you don't invite me. Tell me the time and venue when the celebration begins. I will go and see what they are up to. Chapter 801. Mo Shuyun replied, the location is at the He family's mansion. The time is 7:30 p.m. Goddess, you can come over immediately. He Mingkai, that be asterisk starred. Just you wait. If I don't have asterisk CK him during the celebration tonight, I'll change my surname to his. When that time comes, none of you can stop me. Don't blame me for not showing mercy. He Luffing was furious. Lin Yan sighed and glanced at Mo Shuyun helplessly. Shuyun, you have to keep an eye on him. Mo Shuyun nodded and replied, Goddess, don't worry. I will definitely watch over Xiaofeng. I won't let him do anything rash. Lin Yan replied helplessly, you misunderstood me. I mean you have to keep an eye on him. He might be out of his mind. Don't scare others when he goes out. Goddess, I understand. Mo Shuyun grinned at Lin Yan. He Luffing was speechless. He Luffing was dumbfounded as he stared at Lin Yan. How can you talk to your brother like that? Are you my biological sister? I'm your F*** cousin. Lin Yan's heart twitched. Why hadn't she realized that He Luffing was a retard? His brain was even better than Pei Yutong's. He Luffing and Pei Yutong were the biological brothers who had been separated for many years. She would really have to ask her second uncle if He Luffing had been adopted. So what if I'm your cousin? I'm also your sister. I don't care. You're my biological sister. He Luffing blurted out anxiously. Be good. I'll go back first. Call me if you need anything, replied Lin Yan. Okay, sister. No problem. He Luffing gestured for her to leave it to him. After Lin Yan left, Mo Shuyun stared at He Luffing and clicked his tongue. He Luffing, I really envy you for having such a sister. What's wrong? He Luffing was puzzled. She's beautiful and kind, Mo Shuyun lamented. Why do you say that? He Luffing was puzzled. She didn't beat you to death. Isn't that because she's beautiful and kind? Mo Shuyun stroked his chin. Lin Yan was waiting at a red light when her phone rang. She picked up her phone and saw that it was Boss. Hello, Boss. Lin Yan answered the call. Do you have time? The man's indifferent voice sounded. Lin Yan had no idea what her boss meant when he asked if she had time. She merely replied, Boss, what can I do for you? The company plans to send you on a business trip. Lin Yan was startled. Business trip? Where are you going? Who are you going with? Lin Yan asked instinctively. Abroad with me a few days. Lin Yan was speechless. What kind of joke was this? She would be gone on a business trip with him for a few days. When she returned, he would eat her alive. She couldn't afford to go on such a trip. Boss, I'm sorry. I've been busy lately, so I can't travel. The man on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment before he finally said, Okay, I got it. Pay more attention to your safety. Before Lin Yan could respond, the call had been hung up. Lin Yan set her phone aside. She had to find a time to talk to her boss. She was only a translator, so she hadn't told him that she was going on a business trip. Cloud Manor. Ling Yu was sitting next to the computer in her room. When she saw Lin Yan, she immediately rose and glanced at her. Sister Yan, did the filming go well? Lin Yan nodded slightly. How could it not go well? This was probably the smoothest time since her debut. Chapter 802. It went well. Lin Yan grinned. Sister Yan, there's news about Lin Shuya. Ling Yu stood up and glanced at Lin Yan. I think Lin Shuya will leave the entertainment industry for a while. Lin Yan had expected Lin Shuya to leave the entertainment industry. Angel Shelter had been exposed at the charity event, which had affected Lin Shuya greatly. It would be a good choice to leave the entertainment industry. Lin Shuya announced that she would be joining a professional racing team. I think she has teamed up with a few professional teams and sent many talents to her team. It seems like she has some connections with a racing guild in the country, Ling Yu quipped. Lin Yan naturally knew about the racing guild in the country. Every country had a professional racing guild. They were like the officials of the racing industry and played an important role in the racing industry. For example, the most prestigious international competition in the racing world was jointly organized by the racing guilds of various countries. Lin Yan had been banned from competing overseas because of a foreign racing guild. Only a racing guild had the authority to do so. To a certain extent, the racing guilds in every country were united. All the teams in the world were under the jurisdiction of these racing guilds. For example, racers like Lin Yan, who had been banned from competing overseas, would be recognized by the other countries' racing guilds. They wouldn't allow banned racers to compete in any competition. Lin Yan was rather surprised that Lin Shuya would join a professional team at this stage of the game. However, Lin Yan didn't care. She wasn't interested in what Lin Shuya was doing. It had nothing to do with her. Sister Yan, did your grandfather get hospitalized? Ling Yu smiled at Lin Yan. Lin Yan, who was startled by Ling Yu's question, turned to look at Ling Yu in astonishment. Only she, he laughing, and a few others had known that her grandfather had been hospitalized. Even her own mother hadn't known about it. How had Ling Yu known? Ling Yu chuckled when she noticed Lin Yan's expression. Sister Yan, have you forgotten about me? I have a powerful intelligence network. Ling Yu's intelligence network belonged only to herself. Even the Pei family wasn't aware of it. Ling Yu had told her this before, but she hadn't expected Ling Yu's intelligence network to be so detailed. Ling Yu had already found out shortly after her grandfather had been sent to the hospital. You're way too terrifying, Lin Yan muttered. In front of this girl, everything seemed to become transparent, as if she knew everything. Sister Yan, you have to be more careful. I have a feeling that Lin Shuya is up to something. She might be targeting you, said Ling Yu after some thought. Needless to say, having a manager like Ling Yu was really invincible. She knew everything and could make effective decisions in the shortest time possible. Moreover, Ling Yu was an all-rounder. Not only did she know about the entertainment industry, but she also knew everything about the racing industry. I will. Lin Yan nodded at Ling Yu. That night, Lin Yan arrived at the He family mansion at 7:30 p.m. He Xiong and his son were holding a banquet at the old residence tonight. She wanted to see what this pair of father and son were up to. Lin Yan had just arrived at the He family's mansion when she bumped into 3 other team members who had come to meet her. Chapter 803. Sister Yan. One of the young team members greeted Lin Yan with a smile. Goddess. Another team member replied. Fairy sister. The last member of the team stared at Lin Yan excitedly. Lin Yan felt uneasy when she heard their nicknames. She smiled awkwardly and greeted them. The celebration party was held in the old mansion. There was no one else around, as all the members of the Aurora team were present. Lin Yan spotted He Xiong and He Mingkai the moment she entered the house. He Xiong and He Mingkai merely glanced at Lin Yan, but they didn't greet her. Sister, you're here. He Luffing ran over and glared at He Mingkai, who wasn't too far away. Mo Shuyun and the others entered the house as well. Lin Yan didn't say anything when she arrived. Instead, her eyes darted to He Xiong and He Mingkai. She didn't need to say anything. Everything was written in her eyes. Who asked you to come? He Xiong, who seemed uncomfortable under Lin Yan's gaze, suddenly stood up from the couch. His eyes were filled with disdain and disgust as he glared at Lin Yan. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan and sneered coldly. I seem to recall that I didn't invite you to the celebration party. Why did you shamelessly show up? Lin Yan glanced at He Xiong and He Mingkai expressionlessly. Do I need an invitation to attend the celebration party? Lin Yan, let me tell you something. The He family team has nothing to do with you now. If you want to survive in the He family team, you'd better listen to me. Otherwise, you'll be fired. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan with a faint smile. Let's not talk about this. I want to ask you about grandfather, Lin Yan replied softly. Don't you know your grandfather? Didn't you go to the hospital? He Xiong quipped. That's why you sent your father and grandfather to the hospital, Lin Yan quipped. He Xiong and He Mingkai didn't seem bothered by Lin Yan's words. Oh, Grandpa is too old. He can't think things through on his own. We can't do anything about it. What do you mean he was angered by me and my dad? Do you know how to talk like a human? He Mingkai sneered. Lin Yan nodded in response. Lin Yan knew what He Mingkai and He Xiong were thinking. They didn't care about the old master's life at all. Because of what had happened to the motorcade, they had been banished to the cold palace. Perhaps, they already bore a grudge against the old man and could not wait for the old man to die. Lin Yan, from today onwards, you will be a substitute for the He family team. You will also be in charge of the team's food and hygiene. When you can race again will depend on your performance, replied He Mingkai. He Mingkai, you must be joking. Mo Shuyun suddenly said. I'm confused. Who are you to say that? Why? He Xiong sneered coldly. Because we are the people in charge of the He family team. Manager. Everyone was taken aback by He Xiong's words. When had He Xiong and He Mingkai become the managers of the team? Let them see it. He Xiong glanced at He Mingkai. He Mingkai took out some documents and handed them to Mo Shuyun. Mo Shuyun was one of the shareholders of the He family team, so he had the right to read the documents. End of the chapter. Chapter 804. Mo Shuyun's expression changed when he read the document. He looked astonished and incredulous. Why? Do you know who we are now? He Mingkai sneered coldly. Hold on. Let me make a call. Mo Shuyun turned around and dialed the number. Mo Shuyun returned after a quarter of an hour. However, his expression didn't look too good. No wonder this father and son were so arrogant. They had someone to rely on. Mo Shuyun finally understood why the old master had been hospitalized. He Xiong was really audacious. He had sold 20% of his shares. Under normal circumstances, selling his shares wouldn't have been a problem. However, the other party had acquired all the shares. Now the He family team had changed owners. What's wrong? Lin Yan asked when she noticed Mo Shuyun's dark expression. They sold 20% of their shares, Mo Shuyun replied to Lin Yan. Lin Yan had been aware of this all along. They sold it to a team and that team bought a lot of shares. In addition to He Xiong's 20% shares, the He family team is no longer under the old master's control. In a sense, there is a new owner, explained Mo Shuyun. After listening to Mo Shuyun's explanation, Lin Yan finally understood why her grandfather had been hospitalized because of He Xiong and He Mingkai. It wasn't because He Mingkai had called her an old fool. It was because of the He family team. How can you face the old master by doing this? Mo Shuyun glared at He Xiong and He Mingkai. He Mingkai replied nonchalantly, What a joke! The other team is rich and powerful. They can invest a lot of money in our team and help us attract more sponsors. The old master can just lie down and collect money, yet he isn't satisfied. Who else can he blame? Besides, all of us are beneficiaries. From today onwards, our team's salary will triple. Triple. Many of the team members glanced at each other. If that was the case, they could accept it. The new owner of the team had changed, but they had invested a lot of money. That was a good thing. The He family team had become an elite team, so they needed more money. Lin Yan, do you remember what I said? Asked He Mingkai. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Luffing interjected coldly, He Mingkai, are you talking to a human being? Are you an animal or not? You made Grandpa so angry that he went to the hospital and almost lost his life, and now you're still farting here. He Mingkai turned to glare at He Luffing and sneered coldly. He Luffing, it seems like you don't want to stay in the team anymore. He Mingkai, do you believe that I will kill you today? He Luffing rolled up his sleeves, looking like he was going to kill him. You. I think you're itching for a beating. He Luffing scoffed disdainfully. Given He Luffing's character, he could defeat him with one hand. Everyone, watch. If I don't kill him today, my surname won't be He. He Luffing strode toward He Mingkai. He Luffing suddenly halted and glanced at Mo Shuyun and Lin Yan. Let me tell you something. Don't hold me back. If I don't kill him today, I will change my surname. Lin Yan replied, you already have his surname. To those who are waiting for updates, I would like to recommend a novel called My Heart by Misha. If you're interested, you can read it. Introduction. Why me? House Duo was puzzled. You're the only girl who confessed to me during the interview. Chi Tong explained. I revoke what I said. House Duo was filled with regret. It's been too long, so the revocation function has lost its effect. Also, since you like me, we're mutually in love. Chi Tong was shameless. What is this? House Duo blinked. My heart is moved by you. Chi Tong said affectionately. End of chapter. Chapter 805. Everyone, including Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun, turned to look at He Lufeng. Everyone fell silent. No one spoke, as though they were waiting for He Lufeng's performance. He Lufeng's eyes landed on Mo Shuyun as he sized him up. Don't pull me. I'm really angry. I have to teach that B** start a lesson today. Mo Shuyun pondered for a moment before he nodded. Okay, good luck. He Lufeng was speechless. He Lufeng's eyes darted to Lin Yan. Sister Yan, don't hold me back. Today this family will bleed. Lin Yan eyed He Lufeng intently. Okay. He Lufeng frowned. I'm really going to attack. No one is going to pull me back? Something big is going to happen. The He family team members exchanged looks. One of them muttered softly, you should go. He Lufeng was speechless. Bang! Before He Lufeng could continue, He Mingkai darted forward and punched He Lufeng's left cheek. He Lufeng, who was caught off guard, staggered backward and collided with Lin Yan. When He Lufeng was about 2 fingers away from Lin Yan suddenly extended her hand and placed it on He Lufeng's shoulder. He Lufeng finally came to his senses. He Lufeng was completely stunned by He Mingkai's punch. It took him a while to snap back to his senses. He Mingkai, are you serious? How dare you hit me? You're dead meat today. He Lufeng's eyes were red as he bellowed at He Mingkai. Lin Yan sighed helplessly. How could he be a match for He Mingkai? He was small and lazy. He didn't have the habit of training. That's not a problem for me to teach you a lesson. He Lufeng, you're really arrogant. I'm waiting for you here. He Mingkai sneered coldly at He Lufeng. Lin Yan was about to persuade He Lufeng not to be rash when He Lufeng suddenly turned around and glared at her. Sister. He hit me. Lin Yan was startled by He Lufeng's words. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. She had overestimated He Lufeng. She had thought that He Lufeng would go berserk and fight He Mingkai to the end. In the end, he had turned to her for help. Mo Shuyun looked embarrassed. How did he know such a good-for-nothing? Ha! He Mingkai chuckled when he saw He Lufeng pleading with Lin Yan. He Lufeng, are you out of your mind? Why are you pleading with that piece of trash? That's good. I'll educate this useless person who was born by his mother but has no father to teach him. He Mingkai didn't give He Lufeng a chance to speak. He immediately rushed forward and punched him in the face. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yan moved. Lin Yan moved slightly and pulled He Lufeng behind her. Goddess, be careful. Mo Shuyun was startled when he saw this. Lin Yan had exposed herself to He Mingkai. Was she going to take a beating for He Lufeng? As soon as Mo Shuyun finished speaking, a soft sound was heard. Everyone turned to look at Lin Yan in surprise. Lin Yan stood in front of He Lufeng and blocked He Mingkai's punch effortlessly. Chapter 806. He Mingkai's punch was in Lin Yan's palm. Do you have a death wish? He Mingkai glared at Lin Yan. However, no matter how hard He Mingkai tried, Lin Yan was like a mountain that gripped his fist like a tiger's mouth. He Mingkai tried to retract his fist, but it wouldn't budge at all. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do anything about it. F***ck. Mo Shuyun was slightly taken aback. He had thought that Lin Yan was just a girl who didn't have much strength. If she were to fight He Mingkai, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. However, Mo Shuyun realized how wrong he was when he saw the scene in front of him. She wasn't a weak woman at all. She was a tigress. Lin Yan didn't look like an ordinary person at all. She must have been trained. Lin Yan, do you have a death wish? Let go of me. He Mingkai, who felt embarrassed, bellowed angrily at Lin Yan. You talk too much. Lin Yan glanced at him coldly. What did you say? He Mingkai bellowed. Lin Yan didn't continue. Instead, she exerted some force in her palm. Ah! As Lin Yan moved, he Mingkai howled in agony. Lin Yan's palm seemed to contain a huge force, and he Mingkai felt as though his fist was about to be crushed by Lin Yan. He Mingkai had never imagined that a girl like Lin Yan would have such terrifying strength. He was a man, yet he couldn't break free from Lin Yan's grip. Lin Yan, what are you trying to do? Do you have a death wish? He Mingkai, who was flustered, yelled at Lin Yan. Let go of Mingkai. Lin Yan obeyed and loosened her grip. Only then did he Mingkai's wailing stop. After regaining his freedom, he Mingkai glared at Lin Yan. He was about to say something when he saw Lin Yan raise her arm. Before he could figure out what was happening, he heard a crisp slap. Then, he saw stars and his mind went blank. Everyone watched as Lin Yan released he Mingkai's fist and slapped him hard across his face. Lin Yan's slap made he Mingkai spin on the spot. This scene caused everyone present to be completely dumbfounded. A single slap had caused he Mingkai to spin on the spot. No one had expected that Lin Yan would really attack him. This slap is for grandfather. Lin Yan stood expressionlessly next to he Mingkai as she spoke mildly. You. Lin Yan, are you out of your mind? How dare you hit me? He Mingkai rubbed his bleeding nose and bellowed at Lin Yan. Bang! He Mingkai had just finished speaking when Lin Yan clenched her fist and punched him in the face. He Mingkai was sent flying by Lin Yan's punch and crashed into a mahogany table nearby. This punch was for He Luffing. Lin Yan strode over to He Mingkai. He Mingkai had just stood up when Lin Yan grabbed his collar. Swoosh! With another punch, He Mingkai was dumbfounded. This punch was for. Lin Yan was puzzled. Who was this punch for? He Mingkai was speechless. Mo Shuyun was speechless. He Luffing was speechless. Everyone was speechless. Chapter 807. Help me! This punch was for me. He Luffing blurted out anxiously. Mo Shuyun glanced at He Luffing. Didn't I help you just now? He Mingkai punched me, so Sister Yen punched him twice. Is there a problem with that? Asked He Luffing. Mo Shuyun pondered it for a moment before replying, I don't think there's a problem. Okay. Lin Yan nodded. Okay, this punch was for He Luffing too. Everyone was speechless. How could she do that? Lin Yan glanced at He Mingkai, who was starting to panic. She threw another punch at him. However, just as her fist was about to hit He Mingkai, it stopped abruptly. Forget it. This punch was for me, but you really don't have the right to make me hit you. Lin Yan lifted He Mingkai as though he was a chicken and tossed him away. Seeing this, the crowd could not help but gasp. She was too ruthless. She had beaten He Mingkai up so badly, yet Lin Yan had said that He Mingkai didn't have the right to make her hit him. He didn't have the right to make her hit him? She had almost beaten that unlucky kid to death. Lin Yan. He Xiong instinctively walked over to Lin Yan as he bellowed angrily. Lin Yan's eyes trailed to He Xiong as she sneered coldly. Why? Do you want to give it a try? He Xiong was taken aback when he heard that. He halted abruptly. Judging by Lin Yan's expression, she didn't look like she was joking. He Xiong's face turned ashen as he strode over to He Mingkai. After helping He Mingkai up, He Xiong glared at Lin Yan. All right, Lin Yan. You will never be able to make a comeback in the He family team. Don't even think about racing for the rest of your life. I will make you work for the He family team for the rest of your life. Upon hearing this, Mo Shuyun's expression changed slightly. He Xiong was indeed in charge of the He family team. As long as Lin Yan was with them and He Xiong didn't want her to step on the track, she wouldn't be allowed to compete. He Xiong, don't forget that without Lin Yan, the He family team wouldn't have become a top team. If you don't let Lin Yan compete, the He family team will be crippled. He Xiong sneered coldly. Do you think the He family team is still the same as before? Now that Lin Shuya was in charge of the He family team, she had invested a large amount of money into the team. Mo Shuyun wanted to retort, but Lin Yan grinned. In that case, I will quit the team. Quit? He Xiong sneered. Dream on. Do you think the He family team is a place where you can come and go as you please? Am I wrong? Asked Lin Yan. Lin Yan, don't forget that you signed an exclusive contract with the team. If you want to leave, you can. However, you will have to pay a huge sum of money. Once you pay, you can leave, said He Xiong. Pay. Lin Yan glanced at He Xiong. It's almost dawn. Are you still asleep? Asking her to pay for the damages was an international joke. Once the money was in her pocket, it belonged to her. She could only take it in. How could she leave? Not a chance. Lin Yan, if you want to leave the team and refuse to pay according to the contract, we will have to take legal action. He Xiong sneered coldly. Chapter 808. Lin Yan shrugged. Where is the contract? Show it to everyone. Lin Yan, I think you won't give up until all hope is gone. He Xiong quipped. You want the contract? No problem. He Xiong glanced at He Mingkai, whose face was swollen. Mingkai, get Lin Yan's contract. Okay. He Mingkai nodded and walked into the room. He Mingkai returned with a frown on his face. Dad, I didn't see Lin Yan's contract. What? He Mingkai was startled. He didn't see Lin Yan's contract? Lin Yan sneered in disdain. Are you guys dumb? This is my family team. Why would I sign a contract? Impossible. A cold glint appeared in He Xiong's eyes. The team has its own rules. Not to mention you, even we have signed a contract. The old man said that you have already signed the contract. It can't be fake. Then you can ask grandfather for it when he wakes up, Lin Yan replied calmly. Lin Yan scanned the crowd and said, I will form a brand new Aurora team. Is there anyone who wants to leave with me? Me. I will definitely follow in your footsteps. Mo Shuyun blurted out anxiously. Mo Shuyun, you signed a contract. If you want to leave, you have to pay the penalty fee, He Xiong hissed coldly. Mo Shuyun stared at He Xiong as though he was an idiot. He couldn't help but spit out. He Xiong, are you a king idiot? I'm a shareholder of the He family team. I'm a shareholder. I signed a shareholder's contract, not an ordinary contract. Do you think I won't beat you up if you ask me to pay the penalty fee? Dad, have you forgotten? Mo Shuyun is indeed a shareholder. He didn't sign an ordinary contract. He Mingkai whispered awkwardly to He Xiong. He Xiong suddenly recalled that Mo Shuyun was indeed a shareholder. Sister, I want to join your Aurora team. He Luffing blurted out excitedly. Lin Yan sized He Luffing up unconsciously. No. She didn't want to. Sister, I have potential. He Luffing blurted out anxiously when he noticed the change in Lin Yan's expression. Lin Yan stammered. No, you're not. He Luffing was speechless. He Luffing, you signed a contract. Do you think it's that easy for you to leave? How ridiculous. At this point, He Xiong suddenly became silent. After a moment, He Xiong suddenly changed his words and said, You should leave. I don't want your compensation. He Luffing was speechless. Mo Shuyun, everyone. This was undoubtedly a critical blow to He Luffing. He had never thought that He Xiong would rather let him go without the penalty. He Luffing rolled his eyes and shook his head. No, I'm not leaving. My contract hasn't expired yet. If you want me to leave, you have to compensate me. He Xiong said without hesitation, I'll pay. If it had been He Luffing, he wouldn't have had to pay the penalty fee. As long as he left, it wouldn't have been a problem. He Luffing was dumbfounded. So, He Xiong was willing to pay to let him go? Was he that disliked? Logically speaking, He Xiong should have locked him in the He family team. Why was this happening? Mo Shuyun glanced at He Luffing and sighed helplessly. This kid's racing skills had reached a horrifying level. Other than Lin Yan, no one could remember who was the best racer in the He family team. However, the He family team and the other teams knew who was the worst. He Luffing from the He family. Chapter 809. In the past, the He family team hadn't had enough racers. Whenever the He family team had a competition, He Luffing would most likely compete. When the He family's team heard that He Luffing was going to compete, they couldn't wait to decorate the track with lanterns and banners. He Luffing had almost become the mascot of the opposing team. His appearance meant that they would win. He Luffing's performance in the past had left a shadow in He Xiong and He Mingkai's hearts. As long as He Luffing was willing to leave the He family team, they would be willing to pay him. He Xiong wouldn't dare ask for compensation. As long as He Luffing left, he would burn incense and celebrate. You guys are ruthless. He Luffing glared at He Xiong and He Mingkai as he gritted his teeth. He Luffing had been worried about how he could leave with Lin Yan. Lin Yan didn't have a contract, but he had signed it. If He Xiong were to ask him for compensation, he wouldn't have the money to compensate him. However, He Luffing hadn't expected that. He would think too much. Lin Yan glanced at He Luffing helplessly. He Xiong was willing to pay to send him away. This showed how terrifying He Luffing had become. The disaster of the racing team, He Luffing the disgrace of the racing world, He Luffing the little tyrant of the examination hall. He Luffing in Lin Yan's opinion, it was a miracle that He Luffing had become a professional racer. He had passed all kinds of rigorous tests easily. It had been as easy as eating and drinking. Even an outstanding racer would feel a headache when faced with such rigorous tests. However, He Luffing was different. It was as though he had been born to take tests. Regardless of which country one was in, the driving test or the advancement test was extremely strict. There were several levels, and the higher the level, the harder it was to pass. Even Lin Yan didn't dare say that she could pass in one go. However, He Luffing was different. He had taken countless exams and passed them in the shortest time possible and in the most perfect state. Once upon a time, He Luffing's results and speed had shocked many teams. A few years ago, a top team had even spent a huge sum of money to buy He Luffing, who had just passed the test. In the end, less than a week later, the team had begged and almost knelt before the He family team. They had sent He Luffing back to the He family team and blocked their contact number. They had never contacted the He family team again. He had been like a Buddha during the test, but he had been a pig during the competition. In the end, Lin Yan decided to accept He Luffing. If worse came to worst, she could let him be the team's mascot. After all, he was her brother. Who else would she dote on? Sister Yan. Can I go with you? Yun Xian, who had been silent all this time, asked Lin Yan. Lin Yan's eyes landed on Yun Xian. Lin Yan had tricked him into joining the He family team, so he was indeed a potential candidate worth grooming. I'm under observation. I didn't sign the contract. Yun Xian replied softly. I'm under observation. I didn't sign the contract, Yun Xian said softly. Sure. Lin Yan nodded at him. Chapter 8:10. He Xiong didn't want to let Yun Xian go. Yun Xian was indeed a talent worth grooming, and the He family team needed such a talent. Yun Xian. He Xiong's eyes landed on Yun Xian. Yun Xian didn't respond. Instead, he glanced at He Xiong. Yun Xian, do you know how much money is needed to build a team? She can't even afford a car. This is a huge expenditure. Even if Lin Yan has enough money, she can only build a low-level team. The He family team is a high-level team. If you stay with the He family team, we won't mistreat you. As long as you agree, I will triple your salary. He Xiong told Yun Xian. He refused to believe that he wouldn't be able to convince a talent like Yun Xian to stay with him. What was the use of staying with Lin Yan? Even if she wanted to build a low-level team, the expenditure would be huge. A team would need professional racers to compete. How could she afford it? Besides, did she have the qualifications to build a team? After Lin Yan left the He family team, she wouldn't be able to protect herself. If Yun Xian followed her, he would be buried. Yun Xian, think about it. You can only achieve something if you stay with the He family team. Besides, I believe that my offer is good enough. He Xiong grinned at Yun Xian. Yun Xian gazed at He Xiong in silence for some time before he said, "Thank you." He Xiong glanced at Lin Yan before he grinned at Yun Xian. Does this mean that you agree to stay with the He family team? Yun Xian shook his head. No. He Xiong was speechless. If he didn't agree, he could just say so. Why would he thank him? Do you guys want to leave? Mo Shuyun looked at his team members. Captain, I have contributed to the He family team. It's a high-level team now, and I'm very satisfied with the salary increase. I think it's better for me to stay, one of the team members told Mo Shuyun as he gazed at him. That's right. If you stay, your salary will triple. He Xiong grinned. Sorry, Captain. I have a heavy burden on me, so. Miss Lin Yan, I wish you the best. Sorry, I'm not leaving either. If the He family team had been the same as before, none of the team members present would have stayed. However, the He family team had received a huge investment and had become a high-level team. Their salaries had tripled, so the conditions were extremely attractive. If they left with Lin Yan now, they wouldn't know what would happen in the future. They didn't want to leave. Some team members even thought that they would be digging their own graves if they followed Lin Yan. Lin Yan wanted to build a new team all by herself? That was wishful thinking. Only a fool would leave the He family team. Without exception, everyone except Yun Xian chose to lower their heads to reality. Mo Shuyun glanced at the crowd and couldn't help but smile. This smile was not deliberate, but it came from the bottom of his heart, a heartfelt smile. If it hadn't been for Lin Yan, the He family team wouldn't have been able to become a top team. All of them had basked in Lin Yan's limelight. However, at this critical moment, they had abandoned Lin Yan without hesitation. Human nature was truly unfathomable. Chapter 8:11. Some of the team members might really have no other choice. They needed this job, so it was reasonable that they didn't want to take the risk. No one knew if some of the team members who didn't want to leave had a family behind them. One was a stable high-ranking team with a high salary, while the other was a small new team with an uncertain future. Even the salary could be a problem. Everyone had a balance in their hearts as to how to choose. Lin Yan, do you really think that you can make a comeback after leaving the He family team? Just as Lin Yan was about to leave, He Xiong sneered coldly. Lin Yan, I heard from Xueqi that your racing license has been revoked. You've also been banned from all competitions. You want to become a racer and build a team again? Dream on. As He Xiong's voice fell, many of the people present were surprised. No one had expected that Lin Yan would be banned from competitions because she didn't have a racing license. It wouldn't matter if she didn't have a racing license. However, if she had been banned from competitions, that would be a huge problem. As a professional racer, being banned from competitions would be akin to cutting off her career. There was no way she could get lucky. Once, there had been a talented racer in the country. His racing skills had been astonishing, and he had swept all the competitions in the country. However, because he had become famous too quickly, he had developed some problems with his personality. In the end, he had been banned from competitions. After that, the talented racer had never raced again. He would never have anything to do with racing again. F***CK. Sister, it can't be. How could this happen? He laughing stared at Lin Yan in disbelief. Why hadn't he heard anything about this? Based on He Luffing's knowledge, Lin Yan was just a racing enthusiast. How could she have gotten a racing license before joining the He family team? She had even raced before and been banned from competitions? Some of the team members secretly rejoiced when they heard that Lin Yan had been banned from competitions. Fortunately, they hadn't chosen to leave. Otherwise, they would have been in big trouble. Some of the team members looked doubtful. If Lin Yan really didn't have a license and had been banned from competing, how had she managed to compete as a member of the He family team? He Xiong wasn't lying. Even if the He family team had helped Lin Yan cheat, she wouldn't have participated in the race. Lin Yan, who couldn't be bothered with He Xiong, turned around and left. He Luffing, Mo Shuyun, and Yun Xian followed them out. Goddess, is that old bastard He Xiong telling the truth? Mo Shuyun asked Lin Yan as soon as they stepped out of the room. Everything else wasn't important, but he couldn't afford to be careless. He had to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, it would be wishful thinking for Lin Yan to continue racing. Mo Shuyun wasn't the only one. He Luffing, Yun Xian, and the rest were also clueless about this matter. They were eager to know the truth as well. All of them were astonished. When had Lin Yan been banned by the Racing Association? Generally speaking, not many people had the qualifications to be banned by the Racing Association. Chapter 8:12. Generally speaking, only professional racers had the right to be banned from competitions. However, Lin Yan shouldn't have been a professional racer. Otherwise, given her abilities, she wouldn't have been unknown in the racing industry. Yeah, sister. How did you get banned from competitions? Why didn't I know anything about it? He laughing glanced at Lin Yan. Lin Yan glanced at he laughing and replied calmly, Who told you that I've been banned from competitions? Mo Shuyun, Yun Xian, and the others were startled by Lin Yan's words. He laughing slapped his thigh, his eyes filled with excitement. He smiled and said, Look, look. I knew it. That bastard uncle wasn't telling the truth. How could my sister be banned from the competition? That old bastard is deliberately slandering her and disrupting the team's morale. I think so too. Mo Shuyun stroked his chin and nodded. Lin Yan glanced at the two of them and replied, I was banned by a foreign racing association. Mo Shuyun and he laughing froze when they heard her. They couldn't snap back to their senses. A moment later, he laughing's face was filled with disbelief. He hadn't been banned by the Chinese guild, but by an overseas guild. Sister, what's the difference between the two? He laughing glanced at Lin Yan. Hold on, goddess. Are you joking? You've been banned from competitions? Mo Shuyun asked Lin Yan hastily. Would I joke about such a thing? Lin Yan replied nonchalantly. Mo Shuyun was speechless. All right then. Goddess, tell me first. Are you banned permanently or temporarily? Mo Shuyun still held on to a glimmer of hope. As long as she wasn't banned permanently, nothing would be a problem. What they were most afraid of was being banned permanently. Permanently. Lin Yan grinned. Mo Shuyun was speechless. He laughing was speechless. Yun Xian was speechless. Mo Shuyun and he laughing glanced at each other. How could they still laugh when they had been banned from the competition forever? Goddess, aren't you an actress? How did you get banned from competing overseas? Were you a racer overseas before? Mo Shuyun asked with a frown. Lin Yan nodded and replied, Yeah, I used to be a racer overseas for a period of time. No wonder. Mo Shuyun fell into deep thought after listening to Lin Yan. He had found it odd. Given Lin Yan's ability, she couldn't be a mere racing enthusiast. The fact that she had managed to lift the entire He family team and make it a top team was proof of her skills. In the end, before she had become an actress, she had been a racer overseas for a period of time. Goddess, what did you do to be banned by a foreign racing association? Mo Shuyun asked curiously. Based on his understanding of Lin Yan, Mo Shuyun found it hard to imagine what she had done to deserve such a severe ban from international competitions. I consumed illegal drugs. Lin Yan answered honestly. Mo Shuyun. He laughing was speechless. Yun Xian. The corners of Mo Shuyun's mouth twitched. He had a feeling that Lin Yan was teasing him. Chapter 8:13. Taking illegal drugs? Was there even a dime's worth of relationship between illegal drugs and racing? If it had been any other sport, it wouldn't have mattered. What was the purpose of taking illegal drugs? Sister, did you give the racer illegal drugs? He laughing asked solemnly. I'm on He laughing's side this time. Goddess, did you give your racer illegal drugs? Mo Shuyun stared at Lin Yan. Racing. Taking. Illegal drugs? Yun Xian stared at the two of them in confusion. He couldn't understand what they were saying. Yun Xian, what's so hard to understand? A racer can run faster if he takes illegal drugs. Mo Shuyun grinned. Yun Xian was speechless. He laughing studied Yun Xian's confused expression and said, Isn't that hard to understand? It's already ridiculous enough for a racer to take illegal drugs. It's even more ridiculous for a racer to take illegal drugs. If you say that a racer can run faster if he takes illegal drugs, everyone can understand that. If a racer takes illegal drugs, he would be too excited and crash his car. What else could he do? Yeah, He laughing is right. Mo Shuyun nodded. I've never heard of a racer taking illegal drugs in my life. It's just like the college entrance examination. Everyone can understand if you study hard through the night. Have you ever heard of anyone who passed their college entrance examination by taking illegal drugs? Could it be that after taking illegal drugs, you'll be well versed in the past and know everything in the universe? That's a completely different matter. He laughing spoke eloquently. I understand. Yun Xian nodded. He laughing's explanation was really easy to understand. It's like a racer is a racer and illegal drugs are like water. If you add water to the fuel tank, wouldn't that be something a fool would do? If you want to add it, you have to refuel first. He Lufeng added. Air. Yun Xian glanced at He Lufeng. Brother Feng, you don't have to explain. I understand. Goddess, you're not joking with me? Did you really take illegal drugs and get banned? Mo Shuyun glanced at Lin Yan doubtfully. Do you think that's ridiculous? Lin Yan grinned. It's not just ridiculous. It's simply ridiculous. Mo Shuyun quipped. Yes, that's nonsense. He Lufeng added. Actually, even Lin Yan found it ridiculous. Let alone He Lufeng and Mo Shuyun. She could accept being permanently banned from racing, but being banned because of illegal drugs. F***ck. She was a racer. Who had ever seen someone run to the gas tank without refueling? However, no matter what, she didn't want to talk about it anymore. If that's the case, why are we still building a team? He Lufeng was indignant. Of course. Lin Yan replied softly. Although I've been banned from competing, I can't be banned from being a boss. My team has nothing to do with my ban. Yeah, you're right. The most I can do is... Goddess, you must be joking. What's the point of building a new team if you don't compete? Mo Shuyun suddenly felt that something was amiss. Lin Yan's value lay in her racing skills. No matter how he looked at it, Lin Yan didn't look like a boss. It's all right. I have a plan. Lin Yan chuckled softly. Since Lin Yan had put it that way, Mo Shuyun didn't say anything. End of chapter. Chapter 8:14. Oh yeah, building a team requires a lot of money. Sister, do you have enough money? He Lufeng glanced at Lin Yan. I don't. Lin Yan shook her head. I need to find sponsors and investors. She could ask for anything but money. I forgot. I'm going to look for He Xiong now. I want to withdraw my investment and invest in our new team. Mo Shuyun blurted out hastily. He had invested a lot of money in the He family team. Now that he had decided to leave, he had to get his money back. Don't. Lin Yan shook her head hastily. Are you silly? The He family team has become a top team and Lin Shuya's team has taken over. You can get a lot of money from your investment. If you withdraw your investment now, wouldn't you be killing the goose that lays the golden eggs? We can wait for the chicken to lay the eggs. That way, we can get a lot of money every month and use it to build our team. Mo Shuyun was taken aback. He pondered for a moment before he gave Lin Yan a thumbs up. Brilliant! Brilliant! Mo Shuyun had thought that Lin Yan wasn't cut out to be a boss, but now, he realized that he had been wrong. He had been gravely wrong. Lin Yan had the face of a profiteer. How could she use the He family team to support her new team? What kind of scheme was that? Oh yeah, Xiaofeng and Mo Shuyun, you guys need to look for a venue and an office space. These are all necessary for the team, instructed Lin Yan. All right, leave it to me. He Lufeng nodded. After that, the three of them went home. Cloud Manor Lin Yan went straight to her room after she returned. She was startled when she entered the room. She remembered that her room had been a mess before she had left. However, it was clean and tidy now. Before Lin Yan could think further, the orange kitten and the rag doll shrieked at her. The cat food had been emptied before she had left. However, Lin Yan realized that the cat bowl was already full. Lin Yan's smile froze. Cat litter. Cat litter was for cats to poop with. It wasn't food. Who was it? Which idiot had placed cat litter in the cat's bowl like cat food? Also, what was that black liquid in the cat's water dispenser? Lin Yan hastily stepped forward and dabbed her finger in it before placing it on the tip of her nose. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. She finally knew what the black liquid in the water bottle was. Who put the damn cat litter and the damn Coke in the food bowl and the water bowl respectively? No wonder Prosperous and Lucky Fortune and Lucky Prosperous were screaming like that. Lin Yan stared at the cat's whiskers, which were covered in cat litter and Coke. Lin Yan reckoned that the cats had mistaken the cat litter for cat food and the cola for water. After taking a sip, she suddenly realized that something was amiss. Lin Yan rose and headed to the bathroom. After cleaning up the two cats, she ended up with her hands full of Coke and cat litter. When Lin Yan opened the bathroom door, she froze in shock. She saw that the bathroom was filled with mist. Lin Yan could vaguely make out a slender figure. However, the mist was too thick, so she couldn't see it clearly. Lin Yan's mind went blank. Sorry, I entered the wrong room. Lin Yan hastily apologized. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, a pair of large hands tugged at her. Instinctively, Lin Yan wanted to dodge, but the mist dissipated. The man, who was wearing a bathrobe, appeared before her. Chapter 8:15. The man's black hair was still wet, and he was wrapped in a loose bathrobe. His eyes were as bright as the stars as he gazed at the girl, who was in a daze. You're back. Pei Yuqing held Lin Yan's hand as they were surrounded by mist. A faint smile hung on the man's face. F***CK. Instinctively, Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yuqing's face. His features, his figure. His aura. Not good. Her HP bar received a critical hit of 10,000 points, instantly emptying. Pei Yuqing's appearance was too tempting to commit a crime. Lin Yan snapped back to her senses and shook her head hurriedly to clear her mind. What kind of images had she been imagining? Amitba, she had sinned. Mr. Pei? Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yuqing in surprise. Lin Yan had never imagined that Pei Yuqing would suddenly appear in her room in the bathroom. She hadn't been mentally prepared at all. Why? Is it strange? The corners of Pei Yuqing's mouth curled into an inexplicable smile. It's not strange. It's just sudden. Lin Yan felt a little awkward. It was strange. Had she seen anything? That damned mist. She didn't seem to have seen anything. Lin Yan was startled. What was she thinking about? Oh yeah, did you tidy my room? Lin Yan suddenly recalled something as she asked Pei Yuqing. It's a little messy. Pei Yuqing replied. Lin Yan was speechless. This was too embarrassing. She should have tidied up the room before she left. Wait a minute. So the cat litter in the cat's bowl and the cola in the water bottle were also Pei Yuqing's masterpieces? The retarded person she had wanted to strangle to death was the man in front of her? However, Lin Yan didn't think that Pei Yuqing would be able to do such a thing given his intelligence. However, it was hard to say. Pei Yuqing's astonishing culinary skills were a miracle that no one would dare to imagine. Based on Lin Yan's understanding of Pei Yuqing, he was almost omnipotent, except for his common sense. A person like Pei Yuqing, who had never raised a cat before, couldn't tell the difference between cat litter and cat food. He should be able to treat the cola as water. Right? Before Lin Yan could mull over this, the man pulled her out of the bathroom and into the bedroom. Oh right. Mr. Pei, why is there no one in the manor? Lin Yan asked Pei Yuqing. When he returned, the manor was deserted and there was not a single person in sight. Yes. Pei Yuqing replied softly, we're dismissed today. It's just you and me. Ha! Lin Yan's expression was odd. Why had they dismissed all the people in the manor? Where are Ling Yu, Xing Chen, and Pei Yutong? None of them are here, replied Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan was speechless. Hence, they were the only two people in this huge manor at the moment. Mr. Pei, what happened? Asked Lin Yan curiously. Pei Yuqing fell silent for a few seconds before he grinned at Lin Yan. Why? Isn't that good? Lin Yan shook her head. It's not that. Don't you want to be alone with me? Pei Yuqing pressed on. Lin Yan was startled for a moment before she shook her head furiously. No, no, no. I'm willing. It was too scary. They are very cute. Pei Yuqing glanced at the ragdoll and the orange kitten before Lin Yan could speak. End of this chapter. Chapter 8:16. Get Rich and Rich Kitten stared at Pei Yuqing with puffy eyes, as though they had been wronged. Mr. Pei, the cat litter in the cat bowl and the cola in the water dispenser. Did you do it? Lin Yan probed. Pei Yuqing fell into silence after Lin Yan spoke. Pei Yuqing glanced at the cat bowl and water dispenser, which had been replaced. It wasn't me. Pei Yuqing denied everything after a second. Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief. I don't think Mr. Pei would do such a thing. Then who was it? Lin Yan rested her chin on her hand as she pondered. Forget it, Pei Yuqing replied. Pei Yutong. Lin Yan was speechless. It was indeed him. Lin Yan didn't hesitate or suspect anything. She instinctively believed Pei Yuqing's words. If Pei Yutong had been the one who had done this, Lin Yan wouldn't have found it strange at all. It would have seemed as though Pei Yutong's existence was to do such strange things. Lin Yan whipped out her phone and sent Pei Yutong a text. The text read, "Lad, you're dead meat." Pei Yutong replied after a moment, "Lightning and wind." Lin Yan typed, "Just you wait." Lightning and wind typed, "Huh?" Lin Yan typed, "Gun." Avoiding lightning and wind. Ah? Lin Yan couldn't be bothered to talk to Pei Yutong anymore. When he came back, she had to teach him a lesson. She had to show him what the cat litter was for. "Are you sleepy?" Pei Yuqing peered at Lin Yan and chuckled softly. "A little." Lin Yan nodded and asked, "Mr. Pei, are you going back?" "Right here," replied Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan stared at Pei Yuqing in confusion. What had Pei Yuqing said? Had she heard wrongly or hadn't he expressed himself clearly? "Right here. You can sleep here tonight," Pei Yuqing added. Lin Yan was certain that she hadn't heard wrongly. Pei Yuqing hadn't expressed himself wrongly. For some reason, Lin Yan's heart thumped wildly. What was going on? He wasn't mentally prepared at all. What if that damned lecher possessed him? Wouldn't Pei Yuqing be in trouble tonight? This is committing a sin. Pei Yuqing switched off the lights and switched on the bedside lamp. Pei Yuqing lay on the boat and glanced at Lin Yan. He chuckled softly. "Come here." Lin Yan instinctively shook her head. She shook her head so quickly that she almost shook it off. "No, no, no. Mr. Pei, I like to kick my blanket off at night. I will definitely affect your sleep quality." Lin Yan replied hastily. "How about this? Mr. Pei, you sleep on the bed and I'll sleep on the couch." Yes, she slept on the sofa. She loved the sofa. She felt uncomfortable if she didn't sleep on the sofa for a day. "It's fine. It won't affect me." Pei Yuqing grinned at Lin Yan. Lin Yan was speechless. She had treated her good intentions as malicious intent. She was doing this for Pei Yuqing's sake. There was a consciousness that coveted Pei Yuqing's beauty. The most terrifying thing was that it could attach itself to her body. What if? Lin Yan didn't dare to continue thinking about it. Besides, Lin Yan was puzzled. Why would Pei Yuqing suddenly want to sleep with her? This was too terrifying. End of this chapter. Chapter 8:17. Pei Yuqing was lying on the bed with a heavy book in his hands. He was staring intently at it. Lin Yan was speechless. So Pei Yuqing had come here to read? Lin Yan couldn't understand why he hadn't gone to the study. Lin Yan could tell that Pei Yuqing was planning to spend the whole night reading. "Aren't you going to sleep?" Pei Yuqing put down the book and adjusted his glasses gently as he spoke to Lin Yan. Lin Yan shook her head furiously. "I'm not sleepy, Mr. Pei. To be honest, I'm a night owl. I don't feel sleepy until the wee hours of the morning. Staying up late has become a daily occurrence for me." She would feel uncomfortable if she didn't stay up late. Pei Yuqing grinned meaningfully at her but didn't say anything else. He continued to read the heavy book. "Mr. Pei, what are you reading?" Lin Yan couldn't help but glance at Pei Yuqing. The book in Pei Yuqing's hands looked strange. It didn't seem to be a book in the market. The book looked old and didn't have a title. "This book." Pei Yuqing put the book down gently and grinned at Lin Yan. "Do you want to know?" Lin Yan was speechless. She didn't really want to, but she felt a little awkward. She was just trying to find a topic to talk about. "Tell me about it." Lin Yan stroked her chin. "Come here." Pei Yuqing gazed at Lin Yan and spoke softly. Lin Yan pondered for a few seconds before she cautiously walked to the bed like a kitten. In the end, Lin Yan had no choice but to lie down quietly beside Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan realized that she had never been so close to Pei Yuqing before. Even if she had been close to him in the past, she hadn't been as relaxed as she was today. Lin Yan's eyes darted from the book to Pei Yuqing. She had to admit that Pei Yuqing didn't look as intimidating as he usually did. He was wearing loose pajamas as he lay on the bed. Coupled with his gold-rimmed glasses and the book in his hands, he gave off the vibe of a lazy scholar. This face, this aura. Those top celebrities in the industry who relied on their looks to make a living couldn't be compared at all. It was as if they were products of two completely different worlds. Are you curious about me or the book? Pei Yuqing glanced at Lin Yan with a faint smile on his face. I'm curious. Lin Yan blurted out. Pei Yuqing replied, Really? If you are curious about me, what do you want to know? Lin Yan was speechless. What she wanted to know the most was why he didn't read in the study, but on her bed. Mr. Pei, what book are you reading? Lin Yan hastily changed the topic. She had almost been led astray by him. The key. Pei Yuqing grinned. Key. Lin Yan was startled when she heard that. The key to human evolution, Pei Yuqing added when he noticed Lin Yan's confusion. Human evolution. Lin Yan grinned. It's too far away. Is it far away? Perhaps it has already happened, replied Pei Yuqing. Do you want to know what the key to human evolution is? He pressed on before Lin Yan could speak. Lin Yan rested her chin on her hand and pondered. How would she know what the key to human evolution was? If she knew, why would she still be here? She would have become the richest woman in the world. End of this chapter. Chapter 8:18. Here. Pei Yuqing's eyes met Lin Yan's as he gently tapped his head with his finger. Temple. Lin Yan asked curiously. Pei Yuqing was speechless. It's the brain, Pei Yuqing explained patiently. Lin Yan was speechless. She couldn't have said that. She must have been influenced by Pei Yutong or He Lufeng. An ordinary person's brain can only be developed by 5%. A genius's brain can be developed by 7 to 8%, Pei Yuqing said softly to Lin Yan. Mr. Pei, your brain must have been developed to 100%, right? Lin Yan grinned. Pei Yuqing was startled at first. When he snapped back to his senses, he couldn't help but shake his head and smile. He touched Lin Yan's glabella gently. No one has reached that level. Mr. Pei, you must be able to reach that level, replied Lin Yan. If the brain is developed to 100%, it might no longer be within the scope of a human, replied Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan's curiosity was piqued. The development of the human brain. What could it bring? A 100% development was beyond the scope of a human. For some reason, Lin Yan's mind was suddenly filled with images of that terrifying laboratory. What had been researched in that unknown laboratory? Was it related to the brain? Mr. Pei, what would happen if the brain was developed to 100%? Lin Yan asked curiously. Lin Yan didn't have any special research on the brain. However, ordinary people didn't use their brains very well. Lin Yan naturally knew this, but she didn't know as much as Pei Yuqing did. She had even found a book to study it. 100%. I'm not sure. Pei Yuqing replied calmly. Perhaps when one reaches 100%, one can completely control their body. Every cell in their body won't age or die. They can turn into anything. Lin Yan was startled when she heard Pei Yuqing. That's too incredible. Is that still human? Even a god can't do that. Perhaps they are even stronger than a god. Pei Yuqing quipped. They can change their cells and genes at will. They can become an eagle that soars in the sky or an overlord of the deep sea. They are omnipotent. Lin Yan naturally wouldn't believe Pei Yuqing's words. However, back then, Lin Yan had seen too many unbelievable things in that laboratory. Perhaps human evolution had already begun long ago, but ordinary people simply could not come into contact with it. Do I have to fully develop it to have that ability? Asked Lin Yan instinctively. If an ordinary person's brain is developed to more than 10%, they might become the pioneers of human evolution and possess some special abilities, Pei Yuqing replied. In that case, how can we develop the brain? Lin Yan pressed on. Pei Yuqing fell silent for a long time. Pei Yuqing's eyes landed on Lin Yan again. Congenital or an external force that changed it? Was it a change caused by external forces? Lin Yan couldn't help but frown. If that was the case, had the laboratory been affected by external forces? Mr. Pei, can I borrow this book? Lin Yan's interest in the book was piqued. Chapter 8:19. Pei Yuqing didn't say anything as he glanced outside the window. At the same time, Pei Yuqing's eyes turned cold. Pei Yuqing got up and took off his loose pajamas. He then changed into his own clothes. Follow me closely. After changing, Pei Yuqing told Lin Yan, who was puzzled. Although she didn't know what had happened, Lin Yan nodded instinctively. She got up from the bed and followed Pei Yuqing closely. Tonight seemed to be a little unusual. Pei Yuqing had dismissed everyone in the manor and come to her room. He had even asked her to follow him closely. Is there something wrong? Lin Yan followed Pei Yuqing out of the room. It was pitch black outside the manor. The cold wind was blowing, and it was a little chilly. Pei Yuqing stood at a corner of the manor and scanned his surroundings. The corners of Pei Yuqing's mouth curled up into an inexplicable smile. All of a sudden, Lin Yan heard a beeping sound coming from all directions. She had heard this sound many times, but nothing good had happened each time. Pei Yuqing picked up a stone casually. A second later, there was a whooshing sound. The stone was like an arrow that had left the bow as it struck somewhere in the darkness. Boom! A scream was heard. The black figure fell from the wall and crashed into the manor. Damn it! The black figure cursed under his breath as he got up and turned to flee. However, Pei Yuqing had already vanished and was standing in front of the black figure. Who are you? The black figure frowned as he watched Pei Yuqing warily. Pei Yuqing stood rooted to the spot and adjusted his glasses gently. His eyes then landed on the black figure. The black figure felt as though an invisible hand had clenched his heart when Pei Yuqing sized him up. Even his breathing started to quicken. The black figure didn't know what had happened, but the man in front of him gave him an immense sense of oppression. It was as though there was a substantial difference between them that made it difficult for him to breathe. You came to my house and asked me who I am. Pei Yuqing stared at the shadow with a smirk on his face as he spoke. I understand. You aren't an ordinary person. We are from the Hunters Guild. This has nothing to do with you. Do you understand what I mean? The shadow didn't seem to be afraid of Pei Yuqing. All evolved humans knew about the Hunters Guild. No matter how high one's level was, it was nothing in front of the Hunters Guild. It's that woman. The shadow's eyes landed on Lin Yan, who was standing not too far away. The mission this time was to find that woman. There was no mistake. It has nothing to do with you. If you know what's good for you, scram. The shadow glanced at Pei Yuqing before it darted towards Lin Yan. However, before the black shadow could advance any further, its hair was grabbed by someone. Swoosh! In the next second, the black figure was flung away. The black figure's body drew an arc in the air before crashing heavily into a large tree in the manor. Another miserable howl came from the black shadow's mouth. The black figure, who was leaning against the tree, rubbed the back of his head. His expression changed drastically. My thick and beautiful hair. The target has appeared. Take that woman away. The black figure couldn't care less about anything else as it bellowed. As soon as the black figure finished speaking, dozens of black shadows appeared from all directions and dashed toward Lin Yan simultaneously. Even Lin Yan was shocked when she saw this. What was going on? Chapter 8:20. Lin Yan was dumbfounded by the commotion. She had been kind all these years. She had helped dozens of people, if not thousands. How could she have enemies? Who were they trying to scare to death with such a dense black mass of them? Don't move! One of the shadows approached Lin Yan and glared at her coldly. Bang! Lin Yan didn't waste any time and punched the shadow's nose. The shadow stumbled a few steps back. If you don't move, you will be a tortoise, Lin Yan hissed at the shadow. The black figure steadied himself, touched his nose, and looked at the blood on his hand. This woman. How dare she hit him in the nose? She had even bled? You'd *MN woman. How dare you hit my nose? The shadow gritted his teeth. You're in big trouble. Don't come near me. Lin Yan couldn't help but take 2 steps back as she stared at the murderous figure. Now you know how to be afraid. The shadow sneered coldly when he saw the fear on Lin Yan's face. The shadow had just approached Lin Yan when Lin Yan punched him in the left eye. Bang! The shadow stumbled a few steps back. I told you not to come near me. Lin Yan glared at the shadow as she spoke. The corners of the shadow's mouth twitched. This woman. Did she think he was a monkey? She had looked terrified just now. Let's attack together. The shadow shouted at the people around him. I have no feud with you. How dare you try to harm me? Don't come near me. Lin Yan was startled when she saw the 7 of them dashing toward her. If you dare resist, you will die. One of the shadows bellowed. Lin Yan suddenly stepped forward and punched the shadow in the face as everyone watched in bewilderment. Bang! The black shadow flew out in response. Lin Yan yelled, "Don't come near me." The rest of the shadows glanced at each other in bewilderment. This woman. Was she? Bang! One of the shadows was punched by Lin Yan again. He followed in the footsteps of the previous person. I told you not to come over. Lin Yan retorted. The shadow crawled to his feet with difficulty, as though he had been hit by a huge hammer. His head felt heavy and groggy as he glared at Lin Yan indignantly. I didn't even move. Bang! Pa! One of the 2 shadows had been punched by Lin Yan, while the other had been slapped by Lin Yan. One of its teeth had fallen out. Are you King sick? Did we move? The shadow stared at Lin Yan in shock. How was this possible? The level displayed on the testing device shouldn't have this kind of combat power. This woman was a complete idiot. Even if he didn't die from this blow, he would be crippled. If they had known this would happen, the guild would have sent a higher-ranked player to complete this quest. Pei Yuqing sauntered over to Lin Yan. Mr. Pei, I'm so scared. Lin Yan hid behind him like a kitten. Pei Yuqing scanned the ground. Ouch! Ouch, my nose is broken. My teeth. Where are my ears? Did she pull them off? Why can't I feel them? Ah, you crazy woman. Don't come near me. Pei Yuqing was speechless. Chapter 821. Dozens of men in black were glaring at Lin Yan furiously. If looks could kill, Lin Yan would have been sliced into pieces. This woman did not play by the rules. She had clearly looked very afraid, but in the end, she was the one who struck the hardest and most ruthlessly. She had repeatedly told them not to go over, and indeed, she looked like a weak woman. But in the end, no one moved. She came up and punched whoever she saw. Her fists were like huge iron hammers. Those who were hit by her fists were half dead. The most incomprehensible and unacceptable thing was that ever since this woman had displayed her hammer-like battle prowess, they hadn't taken even half a step forward. This woman, with a face full of fear, shouted for them not to go over, but at the same time, she chased after them, using her hammer-like fists to beat them up. What was wrong with this world? Especially now, she was clearly as strong as a hammer, but in front of this man, she was acting like a weak woman. This woman must be a freaking drama queen. However, she did seem to be an actress. Hands. He turned around and glanced at Lin Yan. Lin Yan extended her hand in confusion. He held her hand gently and stroked it gently. Does it hurt? Yeah. Lin Yan nodded, looking aggrieved. The man in black whose front teeth had been knocked out. The man in black who had his ear pulled off. The man in black whose nose was broken. The man in black whose leg was crippled. They were here to complete the mission, not to eat dog food. Was there still any law? Was there still justice in this world? They were the ones who were almost hammered to death. This man actually asked this woman if her hand hurt. A second later, the man turned around and scanned the people who had been beaten by Lin Yan. His voice was as cold as ice. Apologize. The men in black. This man was poisonous, right? Did this man not understand the situation? Had he been bewitched by this woman? In the end, who should apologize to whom? However, she was forced by the man's indescribable power. The man in black whose front teeth had been knocked out said, "I'm sorry, my teeth knocked against your hand." The black-clothed man whose ear had been pulled off said, "I apologize. Your fingers must have used too much strength." The black-clothed man whose nose was broken said, "I was wrong. My nosebleed dirted your hand." The man in black got up hastily and limped away. He picked up the shoe that Lin Yan had accidentally kicked away earlier. "Sister, your shoe." Lin Yan put on her shoes and scanned them. "Who are you? Why are you looking for me?" "I'm just telling you that we're from the Hunters Guild. As for why, we won't say it even if we die." The black shadow whose nose was broken said hurriedly. "Hunters Guild?" Lin Yan furrowed her eyebrows. Can we go now?" One of the black-robed men looked at Pei Yuqing in fear. However, Pei Yuqing merely glanced at them, as though he wasn't interested in talking to them. Leave. No matter who you are, don't come looking for trouble with me again. I'm not a pushover, Lin Yan hissed coldly. Everyone looked at each other. What did this woman say? Bully her? They swore that there wouldn't be a next time. Even if they were beaten to death, they wouldn't want to see this woman again. End of this chapter. Chapter 822. Big Brother. One of the figures seemed indignant. Before he left, he glanced at Pei Yuqing. Don't be fooled by this woman. She is very strong. Her hands are like hammers. Look at how we beat her. She isn't weak at all. Lin Yan's eyes widened in fury as she glared at the person who had spoken. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yuqing and sounded aggrieved. It's not like that. That man's teeth bumped into my hand. His front teeth fell off and another man's nose broke. His nose bumped into my knee. Pei Yuqing was speechless. Does your knee hurt? Pei Yuqing gazed at Lin Yan and asked gently. Yes. Lin Yan nodded repeatedly. Does it still hurt? Pei Yuqing gently massaged Lin Yan's knee. It doesn't hurt anymore, replied Lin Yan. The man in black, whose nose had been broken, was on the verge of breaking down. The corners of his mouth twitched as though he had 1,000 words to say. In the end, he said, Big brother, big sister, goodbye. After the men in black helped each other out of the manor, Lin Yan stared at Pei Yuqing. Mr. Pei, did you know that someone was looking for trouble with me? Lin Yan felt that Pei Yuqing was acting strangely today. First, he had dismissed the people in the manor. Now, he wanted to stay in her room. Something didn't seem right. Sleep early. They won't be coming anytime soon. Pei Yuqing didn't answer Lin Yan's question. He merely touched the tip of her nose gently. As Pei Yuqing walked to the study, Lin Yan instinctively asked, Mr. Pei, aren't you going to my room? However, Lin Yan felt that something was amiss the moment she said that. No, she didn't say those words. She must have been possessed by that pervert just now. That pervert was the one who said those words. Pei Yuqing didn't turn his head as the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Sleep early. Of course, if you insist. Lin Yan hurriedly said, Mr. Pei, you should rest early too. After returning to her room, Lin Yan fell into deep thought as she lay on the bed. What the hell was the Hunters Guild doing? Why would they cause trouble for her? Soon, Lin Yan recalled something. Not long ago, she had met a similar group of people at the beach near the He family's old house. They seemed to be from some guild. Lin Yan recalled how she had taught those people a lesson. So, could it be that the guild held a grudge and had been preparing for a long time to purposely take revenge on her? This possibility was not very high, but it did not mean that it was impossible. It was a pity that it was already late at night. Otherwise, he could look for Ling Yu and ask her about the situation. With Ling Yu's ability, it shouldn't be difficult for her to investigate. He could only ask Ling Yu about the situation tomorrow. Lin Yan realized that ever since she had returned to the country, there had been more and more mysteries surrounding her. Many people mistook her for someone else. First, it was Ling Yu. Then, it was the man who treated the parrot as a pet and said that he owed him $10 billion. Finally, it was the so-called Hunters Guild. Not only that, but there was also an existence that could possess her body and control it. Ring after ring, buckle after buckle, but she didn't even know what happened to the laboratory or the whereabouts of her younger brother. Lin Yan had wanted to wake up early the next day to watch the race. However, she realized that Pei Yuqing's book hadn't been taken away. Lin Yan's curiosity was piqued as she picked up the heavy ancient book. Chapter 823. When Lin Yan flipped open the first page of the book, she was slightly shocked. This book was filled with handwriting, and the contents were all manually recorded. Besides, Lin Yan realized that these handwriting didn't come from the same person. The entire book was made up of at least a dozen different handwriting. This thing. Could it be a family heirloom? Lin Yan stared at the book on her phone, deep in thought. A book had been through at least a dozen people's hands. The handwriting at the beginning seemed to have become a little blurry due to time. On the contrary, the handwriting was clearer. Of course, Lin Yan wasn't very interested in the origin of this book. She was just curious about the contents. Lin Yan didn't sleep for the entire night. She had only read about 1/10 of the book. The evolution recorded in the book wasn't as difficult to accept as Lin Yan had imagined. However, it seemed a little difficult, and she couldn't understand much of the relevant information. Lin Yan had gradually accepted the fact that humans could evolve. Evolution wasn't limited to theory. In this world, there might already be many human evolvers. Besides, the book also mentioned the Hunters Guild. The Hunters Guild had been established for a long time, and its main purpose was to capture humans who had evolved through extraordinary means. Human evolution, as Pei Yuqing had said, was divided into two types. The first type was pure evolved humans. They were born evolved humans and didn't need external help to become evolved humans. The other type was evolved humans who had evolved through extraordinary means, such as modifying the brain or genes. There were also ranks among evolved humans. Born evolved humans were the most respected, while humans who had evolved through extraordinary means were the lowest. The purpose of the Hunters Guild was to capture those low-class evolved humans. According to the book, about 23 years ago, there was an extremely famous magician in a certain country who created an amazing magic trick. Without any auxiliary tools, in front of tens of thousands of people, he was able to fly nearly a kilometer in the air without falling for an hour. Not long after, the magician had been captured by the Hunters Guild. This was just one of thousands of cases. The so-called title of the magician was just a cover. In essence, he was a genuine evolved human. The reason he could hover in the air without falling wasn't because he had used any magic tricks. It was because of some kind of ability that had been bestowed upon him after evolution. As for what kind of ability it was, the book didn't record it in detail. Lin Yan guessed that it might have evolved in terms of matter or gravity. Early in the morning, Lin Yan rubbed her eyes and set the book aside. The book briefly introduced many evolvers, and some of them were even big shots that were known to every household. Among them were some great magicians from the last century. She had only read 1/10 of the content, but it was already an eye-opener for her. She was amazed by the wisdom of the ancients. The concept of evolvers did not start in modern times. Its origins could even be traced back to ancient times. Now, Lin Yan was doubting herself. If human evolution existed, then what was she? An evolver or just an ordinary person? Lin Yan couldn't forget the darkness in that laboratory. From the moment she and her brother were brought into the laboratory, her heart was filled with endless fear and darkness. In fact, she often woke up from her dreams because she remembered some details of the laboratory. Chapter 824. Lin Yan still remembered that she had fainted in the laboratory. When she woke up, she had been fixed to a cold metal bed. There were all sorts of instruments around her that she didn't recognize. The colors on the instruments kept changing, and they kept beeping. Lin Yan had always been puzzled about the purpose of the laboratory and what it was researching. However, now, Lin Yan gradually had some ideas. Was it possible that it was used to turn ordinary people into postnatal evolved beings, just like what was recorded in the books? After she escaped from the laboratory, Lin Yan's body had indeed undergone unprecedented changes. First of all, she had a strong learning ability. She could even remember everything she saw with a glance. Not only that, but she had also become extremely strong. Lin Yan guessed that she might be a low-level evolved human who had been assisted in the books. If that was the case, it would explain why the Hunters Guild had repeatedly come to find trouble with her. According to the books, the Hunters Guild was very powerful and had many congenital evolved beings. However, Lin Yan had met the Hunters Guild 3 times. The people sent by the Hunters Guild didn't seem as powerful as the books had described. Was it because the Hunters Guild had declined a long time ago, or was it because her evolution level was too low that the Hunters Guild didn't take her seriously at all? That was why they had sent the most ordinary people to capture her. Lin Yan had no idea. Lin Yan lay on the bed and closed her eyes in deep thought. After a long time, Lin Yan suddenly opened her eyes. Something that had been bothering her for a long time surfaced in her mind. Could it be that the female pervert who possessed her was also a human evolved human? All this while, Lin Yan had thought that she had a mental problem or had encountered a ghost. If a human evolved being had the ability to possess others, that would be too heaven-defying. This ability could completely control the life and death of others. If the possessor had the intention to possess the body of an enemy and take a knife to his own neck like cutting a piece of pork, the possessor would cut off his own neck. Lin Yan's scalp tingled at the thought of this. This was almost an invincible, perverted ability. However, after some thought, Lin Yan felt that something was amiss. She had never offended such a terrifying woman. Logically speaking, she shouldn't have possessed her. After some thought, Lin Yan was enlightened. If a female evolved being had possessed him, she would have been drooling over Pei Yuqing's looks. She would have been the female's tool. He hadn't possessed her because he had a grudge against her, but because he wanted to use her to get close to Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan frowned. She had slept with someone else's girlfriend in hopes of becoming her boyfriend. What a shameless pervert. The next time that lecher possessed her, she would have to have a good talk with her. The pervert's idea was too stupid. If she wanted to get close to Pei Yuqing, why did she have to possess her body? She could do whatever she wanted and get close to Pei Yuqing. She could even get intimate with him. Suddenly, Lin Yan's mind was filled with images of tigers and wolves. Lin Yan shuddered. She hadn't used her cleverness in the right place. No. She couldn't let that lecher find out about this. Otherwise, Pei Yuqing's reputation would be ruined. Lin Yan could even imagine how the lecher would look at Pei Yuqing if she were to be seen by Pei Yutong or Pei Nanshu. End of this chapter. Chapter 825. However, to be honest, the ability to possess someone at will was really an evolved ability that made people envious. Lin Yan suddenly envied this ability. If she had such an ability, she would be able to possess someone else's body and put the money in their pockets into her own wallet. She wouldn't be able to reject it even if she wanted to. Or perhaps she could possess the boss and increase her salary by 10 times. No, 100 times. Most importantly, she would have to sign the contract. Lin Yan blushed at the thought of this. This wasn't what she was thinking. She couldn't be so shameless and immoral. Money was something that she wouldn't bring with her in life or death. It was like a fleeting cloud to her. This was who she was. She wasn't interested in money. After all, life was about living for herself and the people she loved, not for money. Right? Just as Lin Yan was lost in her thoughts, her phone rang. It was He Lufeng. Lin Yan replied. Speak. He Lufeng replied. Sister, you're too cold to me. I'm sad. Can you not say one word at a time? You can even say 2 words. Lin Yan replied. Speak. He Lufeng was speechless. Although he didn't know why, he wanted to kill himself. Sister, we've found a venue. There are a few of them. Let's gather and see the venue. He Lufeng said. Lin Yan nodded in agreement. She had to admit that He Lufeng was indeed swift and decisive. This was completely different from his character. He had completed the task that he had given him yesterday. At the very least, there had been some highlights in his life. What's the lowest price? Lin Yan asked hastily. Oh, not much. He Lufeng replied. Lin Yan asked. 1 year. He Lufeng replied. 1 month. Lin Yan replied. Gun. Sister, I'm not the boss. It's useless even if you tell me. Come out and gather. Let's talk. Money can't be brought along in life or death. Money isn't that important, He Lufeng said hurriedly. Lin Yan fell into deep thought. Then, why don't you pay? He Lufeng was speechless. Sister, I've thought about it carefully. The price is indeed shameless. Let's talk. If there's nothing to talk about, we'll go to another place. He Lufeng wiped the cold sweat off his face. What kind of joke was this? He could eat *T, but he really couldn't pay. To He Lufeng, racing was his life, and he had joined it to earn money. She hung up and washed up. Then, she drove to the place where she had agreed to meet He Lufeng. He Lufeng and Mo Shuyun had been waiting for a long time outside a club. Sister, this venue isn't bad, right? He Lufeng grinned at Lin Yan. Lin Yan scrutinized him for a moment. It had been a racing club, so the venue had been decent. However, Lin Yan couldn't accept the price. Half a year's rent was equivalent to half of her life, and a year's rent was equivalent to her life. The contract was for 3 years. Sorry, but her life wasn't enough. The owner was a young man. They had spent more than an hour trying to persuade him, but he wouldn't give them a single cent. She had no choice but to give up on this venue and move on to the next one. Early in the morning, Lin Yan, He Lufeng, and Mo Shuyun searched for a venue. However, the price was too high or the price was acceptable. End of chapter. Chapter 826. Lin Yan felt a little helpless. It was too difficult to be a boss. Was she going to die before she could even start her career? F***CK. He luffing bellowed. These people are really shameless. How can the market price be that high? All of them value money so much. I despise those misers the most. Lin Yan's unfriendly gaze landed on He Luffing as soon as he finished speaking. He Luffing replied, "Except for me and my sister." Lin Yan gave He Luffing a thumbs up. "Brother, you're really internationally famous," He Luffing asked. "International famous trademark?" Lin Yan replied, "Double standard." He Luffing was speechless. As the saying goes, money drives a hero to his death. It's a pity that all my money is with the He family team. Otherwise, I would have rented one of the floors of that building. Emo Shuyun lamented. Lin Yan's eyes lit up when she heard Emo Shuyun. "That building? Captain, you must be joking. Even if I sold you, it wouldn't be enough. I remember a fool who set up a virtual reality game company and bought the entire building. In the end, there were no customers. Ha ha ha." He Luffing chuckled. "What are you laughing at?" Emo Shuyun glanced at He Luffing. "He can buy an entire building." He Luffing replied, "He doesn't have any customers." Emo Shuyun replied, "He can buy a building." He Luffing was speechless. Mo Shuyun asked, "So what are you laughing at?" He Luffing replied, Emo Shuyun replied, "You fool." He Luffing replied, "I suddenly feel a little sad. Let's go." Lin Yan perked up instantly. "Sister, where are we going?" asked He Luffing. "I'm taking you to find that fool." Lin Yan didn't even turn her head. Lin Yan, He Luffing, and the others arrived in front of a building. Virtual reality game company. F***CK. He Luffing glanced at Lin Yan in shock. "Sister, are you serious? You want to rent a floor of this building?" Lin Yan nodded. "Why can't I?" He Luffing quipped. "Sister, it's not that I look down on you, but you can't afford to rent those venues. If you can, I'll crawl on the ground like a maggot." Emo Shuyun glanced at He Luffing. "I will bark like a dog to accompany you." Lin Yan had no time to waste on them. She sent her boss a text. "Boss, are you there?" A moment later, there was a reply. "Boss, is it payday?" Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan replied, "Boss, I'm not here for my salary. I have something to discuss with you. Are you at the office?" "I'm here." "Boss." "Yes. Didn't he say he was going overseas for a business trip? Why is he back so soon?" Lin Yan led He Luffing and Emo Shuyun to the building. Such a huge place, yet it's closed all the time. It's not even open for business. He Luffing stood in front of the building and looked at the tightly shut door. He sighed. He couldn't understand the thoughts of rich people. "Let's go. The building isn't open. We need a password to enter," added He Luffing. Lin Yan keyed in the password and opened the door. Lin Yan glanced at He Luffing, who was in a daze. She stepped into the building and said, "Let's go." Emo Shuyun replied, "Fool, why aren't you coming in? Didn't you hear your sister's call? Your sister works in this building, so it's normal for her to know the password." End of this chapter. Chapter 827. He Luffing glanced at Lin Yan in astonishment. He had never imagined that his cousin would be that fool's employee. "Oh my God! Are you kidding me? My sister is an actress. That fool is so rich. How could he hire an actress as his employee?" He Luffing exclaimed. He Luffing walked over to Lin Yan and asked, "Sister, what are you doing here? What's your job?" "I'm translating," Lin Yan replied honestly. "Translating?" He Luffing studied Lin Yan suspiciously. Lin Yan had been in the country for so many years, so she knew a few foreign languages. However, she couldn't speak them properly, so it was a problem if she could understand them. "Can't I?" Lin Yan asked He Luffing. "Translating." He Luffing stroked his chin in confusion. "Damn it!" Lin Yan rolled her eyes at He Luffing. "Goddess, let's ignore this fool. Let's get down to business. Even if it's your boss's building, the rent shouldn't be cheap." Emo Shuyun glanced at Lin Yan. Lin Yan fell into deep thought. Lin Yan didn't know if it would be cheap, but at least her boss was generous. She should be able to negotiate. For example, she could pay in installments, or give him a discount. Most importantly, she had been loyal to the company and had made great contributions to the translation work. As the saying went, even if she didn't make any contributions, she had put in a lot of effort. Lin Yan led Mo Shuyun and He Luffing to the man's office. "Hello, boss." Lin Yan beamed when she saw the man. "These two." The man's eyes trailed to Mo Shuyun and He Luffing. "Boss, this is my brother, He Luffing, and this is my friend, Mo Shuyun," Lin Yan explained. The man fell silent for a moment before he nodded. "Hello, boss. My name is He Luffing. Please speak." He Luffing leaned forward and smiled. The man studied He Luffing curiously before he turned to Lin Yan. "Why are you looking for me so urgently? Did you encounter any difficulties?" Lin Yan was speechless. Why did he only look for him when he was in trouble? "Boss, I have a business deal to discuss with you." Lin Yan grinned at him. Mo Shuyun silently sized up the man in front of him. The man's every movement was unlike that of an ordinary nouveau riche. He had a powerful aura, and if Mo Shuyun were to talk to him, he would feel pressured. Mo Shuyun was curious as to how Lin Yan had gotten to know this man and even become his employee. "Boss, look. Most of this building is empty. My friend and I are thinking of starting a team. We need an office and a training space." Lin Yan chuckled softly as she studied the man. The man took a sip of water and asked, "And then?" Lin Yan got straight to the point. "Boss, I would like to rent a floor of your building." Hearing this, the man said thoughtfully, "Oh." Lin Yan was speechless. What does this "oh" mean? It doesn't seem to be very interested. "Boss, since you're so business-minded, why don't you invest in our team? We can use the venue as part of the investment. I guarantee that you won't regret it. You'll get back 10 times the investment." Lin Yan grinned. He Luffing and Mo Shuyun stared at Lin Yan in astonishment. Chapter 828. This. How could they be talking about renting an office space? This was a scam. How could Lin Yan not spend a single cent on such a luxurious venue? Did she really think that this man was an idiot? How could she afford such a building? Did she lack money? Did she look like an idiot? She even wanted to invest. Did she think that this man was an idiot? "Sure," the man replied without hesitation. He Luffing was speechless. Mo Shuyun was speechless. Wait a minute. Is this man really an idiot? Or am I dreaming? He Luffing pulled Mo Shuyun aside and whispered, "Captain, slap me and see if I'm dreaming." Slap. Mo Shuyun slapped He Luffing. "Are you dreaming?" asked Mo Shuyun curiously. He Luffing covered his face and stared at Mo Shuyun in shock. "Captain, are you serious?" Mo Shuyun glanced at He Luffing expressionlessly. "Anyone who knows me knows that I love to help others." He Luffing replied, "It hurts a little." Mo Shuyun nodded. "That's great. Then it's not a dream." The corners of He Luffing's mouth twitched. For some reason, he felt an urge to slap Mo Shuyun. However, as he studied Mo Shuyun's physique, He Luffing pondered for a moment before he smiled at him. "Captain, be gentler next time." Lin Yan stared at the man in astonishment. Lin Yan hadn't expected that her boss would agree so readily. He hadn't hesitated at all. His answer disrupted Lin Yan's train of thought and disrupted her plan. She had already thought of countless ways to convince her boss, but now, she was completely useless. "However, I have a condition." The man glanced at Lin Yan. "A condition?" Lin Yan couldn't help but sneer coldly. Even 100 conditions wouldn't be a problem. "I'm very good at racing." "You know that," said the man. Yeah, I know." "Boss, some professional racers can't compare to your racing skills." Lin Yan nodded repeatedly. As long as he gave her a free sponsorship, he would be willing to let Yeva lose to him on the track, much less praise his racing skills. "Yes." The man nodded slightly and continued, "My condition is to let me join your new racing team, and I want to be in the center position. I will be number 1 in every race." The smile on Lin Yan's face froze at the man's words. "Mo Shuyun, Xiaofeng, let's go." Lin Yan rose from her seat. If he were to be the number 1, Would there still be a need for his racing team to exist? This man's driving skills could only be described as catastrophic. He could even crash into a stationary object. If he really agreed to his conditions, he might run over a few more racers, or he might even run over the spectators and kill them. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to survive. No, absolutely not. Even if he tried to convince the heavens, it wouldn't do. Boss, aren't you making games? Games have a bright future. Mo Shuyun understood Lin Yan's intentions instantly. Given Lin Yan's personality, the fact that she had rejected him so decisively meant that the man's driving skills had to have impressed her. Hence, Lin Yan had turned around without hesitation. I prefer driving, the man said. What kind of car do you drive? Asked He Luffing instinctively. The man glanced at He Luffing silently. Chapter 829. Boss, why don't you invest more money and become one of the bosses of our team? You will be able to manage a large number of racers. That would be great. Mo Shuyun gazed at the man and tried to persuade him. Didn't I make myself clear enough? The man glanced at Mo Shuyun. Although the man did not move, Mo Shuyun broke out in a cold sweat when he looked at him. Mo Shuyun shut his mouth hastily, not daring to say another word. Boss, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of another way. I don't want the venue anymore, Lin Yan said helplessly. Really? The man asked. Yes. Lin Yan replied firmly. She turned around and left with Mo Shuyun and He Luffing, who were both dumbfounded and bewildered. There is a huge venue behind the building. It's about the size of 15 racing clubs. It belongs to me too. You can use it for training, the man said softly. Lin Yan, who was about to step out of the office, froze in shock. Lin Yan retracted her foot. Boss, welcome to the Aurora team. Lin Yan smiled brightly as she shook the man's hand. Yeah, the man replied. Boss, do you want to sponsor a dozen cars? Lin Yan grinned. No, the man replied expressionlessly. Lin Yan was speechless. How heartless. Then, boss, can you show us the venue? Which floor of the building can we use? Mo Shuyun hurried forward. Mo Shuyun felt as though he was dreaming. This man was too easy to talk to. He was so rich and had such a terrifying aura. How could he be a fool? Could he be interested in his goddess? In the blink of an eye, Mo Shuyun found his thoughts laughable. This man had seen everything. He shouldn't be seduced by beauty. Why had this man agreed to Lin Yan's ridiculous request? Why had he even offered to give her a bigger training ground? Did he really think that the team would bring him huge benefits? I reckon that this fool really likes racing. He might even be obsessed with it. He Luffing whispered to Mo Shuyun. Do I look like a fool? You seem to like calling me that. The man glanced at He Luffing. He Luffing was startled. What kind of hearing did this man have? He was 8 feet away from Mo Shuyun, and he was whispering to him. How could Mo Shuyun hear him? Even a cat's ears couldn't be that sensitive. No, 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 no. He Luffing hurriedly shook his head. Boss, I didn't say that you're a fool. I said. He Luffing instinctively glanced at Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun. After some hesitation, he pointed at Mo Shuyun. Boss, I'm talking about him. He's a fool. Boss, I'm sorry. Please don't take it to heart. My brother's brain hasn't developed well, so this part. Lin Yan pointed awkwardly at her head. Let's go check out the venue. The man didn't say much and got up. Little thief, just you wait. Mo Shuyun sneered coldly. He Luffing was speechless. The man led Lin Yan and the others to the entrance of the building. Mo Shuyun and He Luffing were excited when they saw the huge venue. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.